Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 115, and I'm your host, Jake, not joined today by Matt, but I have the pleasure of having one of our patrons, one of our first patrons actually, Alen, along with us. Hello, Alen.
Hello, Jake. Hello. Nice to see you.
How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a bit tired, but I'm excited to take part in the podcast. That's going to be fun. Are you?
Fantastic. I'm great, thank you very much, bro. Also a little bit tired, but very excited to get this on the road after dealing with all the technical, not issues per se, but technical steps that took to get this on the road. Yeah, Matthew is not here today because it's his birthday, and I don't know if he's mentioned it on the podcast, but this is a very special birthday for him. It's his lucky birthday. Yeah, 27th February, he's turning 27, so it's a very big deal for him. So he's pretty much on a bender for the entire week, and we're gonna have to carry his ass, right?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was something like that. That was the reason for his absence.
Yeah, so it's better than the whole Australia fiasco, that's
Uh-huh.
for
Precisely.
Um, I wanted to ask you, Alan. You're one of our patrons.
hmm
What's it like being a patron? Is it worth it?
Oh, definitely.
What
Easily.
kind of things do you get from being a patron?
Look, for me, the first thing is the group chat. The group chat is lit. The group chat is fire, and that's for me, it's become my go-to Serie A discussion, the group chat. And over the weekend, I'm sitting watching the games with the phone in my hand. I didn't used to do that before. So whenever something happens during the game, the group chat that's my go-to discussion.
Yeah,
Um,
we've absolutely ruined you so because before you'd watch the football without a phone, but now you've got your.
exactly, exactly.
Sorry about that.
No, it's enhancing the experience. I'm having a lot of fun.
Oh,
And
great.
there's always people there making funny comments, good takes, and yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, quite the spectrum of characters over there. You've got the I don't call them the intellectuals, but the debaters. You know, the Matthias type of person. The you, to be honest, you often hit us with like a paragraph with an observation, and then
An
we
essay,
debate
let's
that
say it.
observation.
It's an essay.
It's an essay, yes, and I'm all for it. To be honest, I'm sure that's one of my favorite kinds of essays to read. That's for sure. But yeah, an
But
action-packed episode we had. Not episode, sorry, match day we had. It was match day 26, of course. Let's not forget that all the games of match day 21 have been played. The last two being Inter 4, Atalanta nil. This was quite a show on Inter's end. CDK opened the scoring in the 11th minute, but it was disallowed. And then Darmian, Lautaro, Di Marco, and Frattesi all went on to score. Fun fact: Frattesi has scored more goals than Arnautovic and Sanchez combined, despite not really settling into this team. Yeah, and Inter had a tough run of games, bro, and they've won them all.
yeah, definitely, they're cruising. It's funny you mentioned that about Fratesi because I actually wrote it down in my notes as well.
Oh, really? Great.
Yes, I wrote it down. Like he has played how many minutes? It was precisely 530 minutes or something, and he has 4 or 5 goals. It's
Something like that.
yeah,
It's unbelievable, to be honest.
it's
Um, he's very good at inserting himself in these like offensive pockets, kind of like Mkhitaryan does. You know, the space
Mhm.
behind the strikers. He's very good at taking advantage of that. And we saw it a lot at Sassuolo. We saw it at Monza in Serie B. He was, I think, the highest scoring midfielder that one season he spent over there with Monza. And yeah, nice to see he's still got it despite not hitting the ground running at Inter. But that's, to be honest, not his fault. Their team is pretty much set over there.
Yeah, look, I saw an interview with him quite recently, and it appears, or given that he's telling the truth, which probably is rarely the case with his interviews, it seems to have been the plan all along. Like he was not expecting to play much the first year. He said it himself, and it's completely for him. It's completely fine to sit on the bench, and yeah, I guess he's content with this first year introduction as it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. age is on his side, and he's at a team adding nice accolades to his Wikipedia page. So I doubt he's complaining, right? Because if you go on the honors section of Frattesi's Wikipedia, it's going to start now: Scudetto, Coppa Italia, Champions League runner-up. All this stuff.
Yeah,
We'll see.
they're already predicting the Champions League runner-up.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, because that's actually a question I wanted to ask you, man. Inter right now seem absolutely unstoppable domestically. Outside of Italy, they're hailed to be in the top 5 teams internationally at the moment. What do you think about that?
Well, definitely they are the top 5. That's without a doubt, I think. The question is more tricky once you get like who is the best, who's going to win the Champions League, and the margins are quite small as well, right? In a game, you can have the first goal by a random chance, and it can completely change the entire 2-leg tie, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Inter is, you have Inter, you have Real Madrid, and you have Manchester City. I think that's the top 3.
Yeah.
But of course, it's debatable.
Yeah, and it's in no particular order. I think any of those teams can take on the other one on any given day, to be honest. It's pretty much a coin toss. When it comes to domestic dominance, though, no one's quite done what Inter have done. And it's actually quite a historic run that they're on, because I think by this time, I heard somewhere that by this time, in the past 90-something years, no team has accumulated as many points as Inter have, basically in the last 90-something years after this many match days. Something like that, something absolutely insane. Yeah, so we'll see. The question is, can they also beat Juve's point record under Conte? I believe it was 102 points domestically, the record.
I actually checked it. It was a listener question. Yeah, 102. Yes. Simple answer, no, they can't.
Why not, Alen? Why not?
Look, I did the math. They will have to win every game but one for the rest of the season. And to be frank with you, like even if they try to do that, like fully committed, it's not a given that's going to happen. But I also think that they're not going to try it. We saw it with the Pippo rotation when he was prioritizing the domestic league in January. I'm pretty sure he's going to do the opposite now in March, April. He's going to, I mean, they have secured the Scudetto, basically. They're never going to say it publicly, of course, but I am fairly confident that they are going to start rotating. And we can see now Çalhanoğlu is out. Barella is going to be out. And yeah, they're not going to care that much about the league, I think.
I tend to agree with you totally. My answer was going to be no, simply because they have so much leverage in the league that it would be foolish for them to push for this record when they can rest players for the Champions League. As you correctly mentioned, their injuries are mounting. It's time to rotate the squad a little bit. The substitutes have proven to be dependable, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can count on these guys, man, coming in, like Carlos Augusto, Frattesi, Aslani to a certain extent. They've all done a pretty good job. Even Sanchez has proven to be quite a dependable player, man, nowadays. Still at his age. So yeah, I think it would be foolish for them to continue fielding their strongest 11 in the league. Yes. Yeah, we also had another game that happened. This was Sassuolo 1, Napoli 6. Of course, Racic opened the scoring for Sassuolo with a very well taken goal, and then Rahmani equalized. Osimhen went on to score 3 goals despite only having 15 touches and 4 successful passes, and 1 assist as well. And Kvaratskhelia went on to score 2 goals. Napoli dominance under Calzona. Do you think that this was the plan all along for Spalletti? Let's just try for De Laurentiis. Sorry, let's try to recreate this Spalletti team. And what better way to do it than to bring in Spalletti's assistant manager at the time?
You're laughing while you're asking the question, Jake.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of confidence that there has been no plan from De Laurentiis this season. Everything has been done sporadically. Opportunities have arisen and he has taken them. He has taken risk. He has taken gambles. It hasn't worked out, and now he went with Calzona. And look, they played one game against Barcelona. They played a game against Verona, and now they hit the ground running against Sassuolo. But keep also in mind that Sassuolo have a junior coach who just took the helm over there.
Yeah.
So it's a bit too early to tell, I think, if it's Calzona's credit or if it's a coincidence. Two new coaches having, how do you say, it's they have had limited time to influence their squads. Of course, this is
Sorry to cut you off over there. It's definitely interesting. We haven't even mentioned on this podcast yet that Dionisi has been sacked. Matt and I have been wondering when that was going to happen for a while, and it's been a talking point in the group chat for a while as well. Sassuolo, for the talent they have in their team, are sitting in the relegation pool. It's inexcusable, to be honest, and I think Dionisi had to shoulder the responsibility, and he deservedly got sacked over there. The question is, was it the right call to bring in the Primavera manager? Why not just bring in someone like Ballardini, for example, who can, tighten things at the back? You bring Berardi comes back from injury. You've got Berardi, Lauriente to feed Pinamonti, for example, and suddenly you've got a tighter, more organized unit, and with a bit of creative expression, creative freedom. I think that they have enough in their locker to get it done. I think personally. What do you think about that? Bringing in a Primavera manager, not the best thing to do in a relegation standoff, right?
No, I mean, of course, in hindsight now, it's easy to tell that turned out to be catastrophic in the first game, at least. It seems quite desperate, and as you say, why not try to bring in somebody more experienced at this level? But I will be careful to be too convinced whether it's right or wrong, because it's way too early to tell.
Yeah.
It seems like it's very wrong, but maybe there's something there that we are not aware of.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he's the next big thing.
Yeah.
We'll see. Napoli were on, though. They were on it. I haven't seen them play like that all season. And it came at the perfect time, just in time for their second leg match against Barcelona, and their next match against Juventus in the league.
Mhm.
So they needed this confidence boost, despite
Yes.
it being against lowly Sassuolo.
Look, Italy needs this confidence boost because of the coefficient, right? Italy needs Napoli to beat Barcelona. It's very
Absolutely.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, while we're on the topic of European fixtures, Roma have drawn Brighton. So we're talking about De Rossi against De Zerbi, which does not bode well to me personally. I think Roma will not progress. That's my prediction. Are you comfortable making a prediction?
Yeah, I'm actually leaning towards Roma progressing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, they are in such a good flow. Currently, everything is clicking for them correctly. Brighton has been like they've kind of lost their magic. I have to be honest and say I don't really follow the Premier League that closely, but I pick up on general stuff, and the general thing is that Brighton is starting to wobble.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Roma is on a hot streak, so I think there's hope. And De Rossi has had the Cherby as a coach as well, so they are a bit familiar with each other. They have apparently been exchanging text and tactics over time. So yeah,
that's going to be interesting. I had no idea that they were tight like that. Where exactly were they together?
I don't know. Where was it?
Trying to think. I know De Rossi went to Argentina randomly. Could it be there? I don't know. I highly doubt that.
No, I don't know. I know I saw an interview with De Rossi where he said that during his time in Spal, he was in close contact to De Cherby quite
Okay.
often.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
I'm wrong about him being his pupil at some point, but I'm sure that De Rossi has said that they are very close and they often speak together.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That would be very interesting. A very fiery friendship over there. I can imagine them playing FIFA together, smacking each other on the back of the head.
They're actually young enough to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Atalanta have drawn Sporting Lisbon, who have been pretty bloody good this year, and that's going to be quite a showdown. Atalanta might not be clear favorites over there at all, and they've just been demoralized by Inter. We'll see how they bounce back. I'm a little bit worried about this one as well.
Yeah, yeah, this will be probably a tight one. And again, I have to generalize, but we have seen that the Portuguese teams have been doing quite well in
Yeah,
Europe, and I see no reason why Sporting should be an exception from that. And their form is really good. But again, I think Atalanta is also in a good form. I don't think that this Inter game is it's like too telling. I think they played Milan not many days ago. I think Atalanta are gonna bounce back quite quickly.
yeah, and the way they had been playing up until the Inter game was very promising, and I would have easily called them like the fourth best team in Italy, the fourth team I'd like to face the least in Italy, probably for sure. You know, when it comes to the full package, because Bologna are good, but Atalanta's squad is deeper than this Bologna team.
Mhm.
And if you catch Atalanta on a good day, they're gonna humiliate you.
No,
Yeah,
it's not just deeper. It has more quality. It has more talent. Uh,
absolutely.
Simply put, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as Matt and I often mention on the podcast as well, very intelligent players, man. Technically gifted with a good brain on them, man. I
Yes.
like what Atalanta have done, putting such a clever team together. Yeah. Milan have drawn Slavia Prague, which is technically a good draw, but the other good teams in the Europa League, the other favorites, have also got favorable draws. So it's a matter of not slipping up and then kind of seeing who you face after this round, right? I mean, Slavia Prague are one of those Eastern teams where you go and the atmosphere just shocks you, man.
That's so cool, though. That's so cool. I love it. I
Yeah.
hope to see flares. I want to see the stadium lit up. We need more of that in the game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was so surprised by Rennes in the second leg.
Yes.
The stadium was bouncing, dude. They were 3-0 down at kickoff. I'm looking around, the stadium's fucking bouncing, man. Like it's getting the shots of the behind the goal post and all the way around, everyone jumping, flares in the air. And the players are coming out, and I look at Matthew and I'm like, really? This is who you want to bring Chukwueze and Okafor and Chow in for? Like, you want to rest them midweek and play
Yeah.
them here? Like, no chance. And then they scored early. I was like, this is going to be a bad one for Milan.
Yeah, the atmosphere was amazing. But did you also see the pre-game friendly thing between the fans? How the Ren fans were handing out sausages to the Milan fans? That was awesome.
That
No,
was awesome.
yeah, Milan has to pass, right? Anything else would be a disgrace, and regardless of the support from the home Eastern European home crowd, it's Milan has to continue on. Regarding the other teams getting easy or easier or whatever
Yeah, favorable.
opponents,
Yeah,
yeah, favorable. Um, Milan has to focus on them, and everything else is irrelevant until you draw Liverpool. I wouldn't care about Liverpool. It's irrelevant until you face them yourself.
absolutely, man. And it's good. I mean, Milan had the group of death in the Champions League, and they didn't qualify by 1 point because of a potentially non-existent penalty that was awarded in one game. I had to put it
Uh,
lightly.
mhm.
But yeah, this is the standard that Milan should be playing regularly with such a young team. It will only do them good to play these teams. So hopefully they can get past Slavia Prague and play against a big team on a big stage with everything to lose.
Yes, yes, that's what we want to see.
Yeah, then there's Inter Atletico, which is. I'm trying to think of a good comparison for this game. It's like I don't know, two submissive lovers trying to get on top of each other.
Oh, Jake. I don't know. I think Inter has been quite a dominating side. I think they're the dominator right now, and Atletico is the submissive one. But
Yeah, it's been a
look,
bit of a change of rep for Inter lately. They've become quite an offensive unit, haven't they?
they have they're scoring goals for fun. They are on plus 55 now in the Serie A, which is mental,
Yeah,
considering we are 26 games in.
yeah,
Absolutely mental. Um, I think that Inter need to be careful. Of course, they are leading after the first leg, but I'll bet you 100% sure that Diego Simeone will say one goal deficit is good for them. If they
yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah.
advance, they are expecting to win at least one game. So they are playing at home. They expect to win a game with a goal, and everything can happen. So I think Inter need to be wary.
Absolutely, man. Atletico are masters of luring you into a false sense of security and then just smacking you when you least expect it to get back into the game, man. And the
Precisely.
atmosphere, the manager, the personnel they have, when if they manage to get a goal, they're gonna go all the way, man. They're hype, Those guys are just so motivated. They're such alphas, Yeah, it's always fun watching Atletico. It's always fun watching Atletico. A very atypical Spanish team, I think. When you look at the likes of other Spanish teams, they're very different. They usually prioritize this beautiful style of play, like Real Betis with this passing football. Atletico go against that completely, but they do it perfectly. Lazio,
I think
Bayern, of course. Yeah, please. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think it's cool that they have kind of embraced this role of being the destroyers, the demoralizing side, the side that everybody hates, or not hates, but like not the anti-football, but the defensive grinta team that's just gonna destroy your spirit. I think it's cool that they have fully embraced that, even though, yeah, it's not
Absolutely.
a beautiful football, but it's fun, it's entertaining in a sense.
They're the villains. Every story needs a villain. So yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I agree completely. A little bit of Spanish catenaccio. So Lazio and Bayern face each other, of course, and Napoli Barca. Any hot takes, opinions about those games?
No, I still think Lazio are gonna get fucked, unfortunately. Um,
They're gonna want to fuck them up after that first leg. And
yes,
apparently now they're playing for Tuchel, the players. Tuchel said that he's gonna step down at the end of the season, and the players apparently have taken it upon themselves to play for their manager. Apparently, so we'll see.
that's such a weird
Um,
thing.
yeah,
Uh, if you're gonna fire a coach, or why are you announcing it in February? Why can't you just keep silent for 3 more months and then just leave in silence when the club has planned a replacement? What's the point of announcing it already? It's such
absolutely.
a weird move.
It really is, especially from a well-run organization such as Bayern Munich. But yeah, and then we have yeah, for sure. And then we have Napoli. Okay, so you think Lazio are out? I tend to agree with you. The second leg is going to be very difficult. And then we have Napoli, Barca. Do you think that Napoli could edge this, or would you say that Barca are strong favorites?
Nobody's a strong favorite. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know, Jake. I think it's difficult to predict this Napoli because we have seen them play draw against Verona, and we have seen them destroy Sassuolo. So we,
yeah,
we don't. I think it's one of those games where everything can happen. I'm certainly not going to place a bet on that one.
yeah. Not touching that one with a stick. Definitely not. One thing I have forgotten to do that I will be doing before the rundown is thanking our patrons, the people who support. Yes, I mentioned our patron, but I forgot to shout out the boys who make this show happen. Thank you, Ed, Tonna, Michael, Mint, Matthias, Luca, Kyle, David, Lena, Sluge, McDougal, Campbell, Tim, Anthony, Andrew, Andy, and finally, Alan. Thank you, Alan, for making this show happen.
No, thank you. You're the ones who making it happen.
No. You're the backing behind it. If we got absolutely no feedback, I'm not sure we'd still be doing this. So thank you very much, honestly.
Listen, I want to add one thing.
Please.
You asked me earlier about being a patron of the show, and I mentioned this thing about the group chat, which is lit. But I signed up for the Patreon before the group chat existed. I signed up for the Patreon when there was no benefits to it, right? And that's purely because I think you guys deserve it. You're doing a great job. You're giving me a lot of pleasure. You're making me enjoy Serie A more than I used to. So without any benefits of the group chat or whatever, I would still be a patron because the product you're delivering is really, really good. So thank you, not the patrons. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Thank you. Very nice words. Thanks. So I think we can get into it. We'll do a rundown. Matt normally does this. I'm going to give it my best. Bologna took on Verona and beat them 2-0 quite comfortably over there. Monza took on Salernitana away from home where they won 2-0, sinking Salernitana even further down the table. Juventus struggled to beat Frosinone and it took a last-second Rugani winner to finally confirm a 3-2 victory. For Inter, they played away from home to Lecce, and of course, they smashed them 4-0, as Inter do nowadays. Roma played Torino, and this was quite a challenge for De Rossi. You know, it feels like every single game that Roma have nowadays is a new challenge for De Rossi. Now his challenger was the mighty Juric, you know, the tactician Juric, who has this Torino playing quite well, and they're quite a solid unit and difficult to penetrate, and they managed. They beat them 3-2 at home. The vibes at the Olimpico were impeccable as always. Sassuolo hosted Empoli and lost 3-2. Another Mbayan Young penalty over there, third in a row. Incredible. If I had known.
Yeah.
I thought about taking him on fantasy football, and I was like, Jake, don't make this mistake. Turns out I should have totally gone for him.
I had him on my shortlist as well.
Yeah. That's too risky, right? Genoa played Udinese at home and won comfortably, to be honest, 2-0. Napoli played against Cagliari in Sardinia and drew 1-1 thanks to a Luvumbo last-minute equalizer. Milan hosted Atalanta and drew 1-1 as well, and Fiorentina hosted Lazio and won 2-1. And they did very well to not get demoralized because, boy, did they miss their chances over there. But yeah, we can jump straight into it. I think we should open up with the Inter game, get that out of the way, bro, so we can cheer up afterwards, get the worst part over.
Yes.
But yes, bro, Inter played Lecce away from home. They won 4-0. This included 8 alterations to the lineup for Inzaghi's men. And it showcased pretty much Inter's depth. I'm just going to read you the lineups right now. So Audero was in goal with Carlos Augusto, Debri, and Bisek playing at the back. Di Marco and Dumfries were on the flanks with Mkhitaryan, Aslani, and Frattesi in the middle with Lautaro Martinez and Alexis Sanchez starting up front. For Lecce, it was pretty much business as usual with Tuba stepping in for Pongracic and Raffia playing in the hole behind Piccoli, flanked by Almqvist and Sansone. Yeah, in this game, bro, Lautaro scored his 100th Serie A goal. And what a way to get it too, right?
Yes. He fought for it. It didn't come easy.
And that first touch, man, was... the more you look at it and the more closely you look at it, the more you realize what he did, right, over there. I thought he mishit the ball, but turns out he like put the perfect amount of weight to just knock it forward into space between him and the goalkeeper, rushed for it and finished clinically. Nowadays, you can't give Lautaro an inch, man.
No, yeah. I never expected that goal. I thought he's going to play it back or something. I thought they're going to reset the attack, but no, he turns around and he does that. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. Same here, same here. It's absolutely incredible. Inter have extended their unbeaten away record to 12 matches, while Lecce faced their third consecutive scoreless defeat. Yes, I think that Lecce, I don't know if they've made much of a difference, but they did miss Pongracic this game, definitely. I think they missed a leader at the back. Tuba, to be honest. Again, Tuba and Bascarotta were all over the place, and I don't know if that's just what happens when you play Inter nowadays, or if it's too harsh to criticize them.
I think probably a combination of both, but yeah, I think that's something that happens when you play Inter. It's unavoidable. Unavoidable. We see it in every game now. They're crushing everybody, so it's. I don't want to judge them too harshly, but of course, getting their starting CBs, of course, will help them.
Yeah, especially the more seasoned one, the more experienced one, right? The one who came in to kind of fill in the big boots of Umtiti. He would have
Yes.
definitely been missed this game. There were goals from Fratesi as well. Martinez, of course, scoring a double, and then Devry getting the cherry on the icing on the cake in the 67th minute, sorry, after a Dimarco assist. Yeah, man. Honestly, I've run out of things to say about this Inter team. Their system is absolutely incredible. The way they play football is, to be honest, I wouldn't hold back from saying it's revolutionary nowadays, man. The way that they defend and the way they attack, their transitional play, man. The fact that their midfield is this perfect combination of like creativity and industry. And you look at the personnel this game, it made perfect sense, man. Mkhitaryan is the perfect player for this Inter midfield against all odds. He's so good at just advancing. He's so clever. He knows exactly where to position himself. He's a proper counter-attacking player, man. And he's not the fastest. He's not gonna dribble everyone, but he's got this slight burst of acceleration that he can just drive the perfect length and just lay it off to a teammate or have a shot at goal, and it's pretty much incredible every time. And him
Yeah.
flanked with the likes of Chalanoglu and Barella, that's a midfield partnership if I've ever seen one.
No, look, Mickey is he has all those things, but he's first and foremost a very intelligent football player.
Yeah,
He knows he does these runs. When he does them, they look effortless because he
yeah,
knows how to time them, when to start, which direction to move, when to hold, and yeah, intelligence is on his stronger side, and he makes it look easy and effortless.
yeah. And he's by far the smartest player in that midfield, I think, when it comes to vision and footballing IQ. And then second to him, this was the point I mentioned earlier on,
The
is
competition isn't that strong though.
yeah, yeah. You've got the likes of Denzel Dumfries, Um, Alexis Sanchez, man. Alexis Sanchez is another player with very high footballing IQ, man. And
Mhm.
I'm surprised that we haven't seen him much. And he's actually a player I picked up on one of my fantasy leagues earlier on, before the season had even started, because I thought he would feature. The last time we saw him at Inter, he was used kind of like Luis Muriel was used. Being brought on towards the end of the games and just racking up assists and goals. And I thought, okay, this guy will have a similar role to play over here, and maybe now is the time for him to play this role.
Maybe. I look. I think he has good industry, as you like to say. Like he does the work. He's there for his team. But I think as soon as he can be replaced, he's not going to play unless they have. As long as they have other options, I don't see him playing that much. To be honest, like I respect the man, I respect his work, but that's it. It's those Udinese days are long gone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the Arsenal one's even longer gone.
Yeah.
Um, yes, yes, absolutely. But now, of course, with Champions League games coming up, maybe he can enjoy a few league games. That's probably the most he's gonna get. Yeah. Audero also was called into action and produced a few good saves this game. Emil Audero. He needed that because he hasn't really played in a while, going from playing game in game out with Sampdoria to never featuring must be quite difficult.
I didn't know that he was in Inter until I saw that lineup. I totally missed it.
Yeah.
I,
Did you think it was still the ex Crotone man, Cordas with with the very dark. It's almost like he's wearing eyeliner. That guy's like a punk rocker, you know.
No, but I was looking at the lineup and it's like Aldero and what's going on? Somebody has some stomach flu or whatever. It's like, wait, who? Aldero? I know that guy. Who? I had to
Yeah.
Google him. I completely forgotten about him. I had to Google him. Oh shit, he was in Sampdoria. That's right. But
Yeah.
he was a decent goalkeeper. I find it weird that he's a backup. He could probably try. I don't know where he could. Maybe he could replace Ochoa and Salernitana for sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Concili is always a target.
Yeah.
But no,
He's
I
27 nowadays.
hmm?
He's 27 nowadays, Audero. He's still
Oh,
quite young. Yeah.
he has at least 5 years ahead of him, minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, playing at Inter maybe might be what he wants, just to go to a winning side, a big team finally, and try to fight for his spot. Shame that Summer was brought in for him because he stands absolutely no chance of featuring more often nowadays. But yeah, the second goalkeeper was an area that Inter really needed to strengthen after the whole Radu incident. Yeah,
yes.
literally
Which
cost them the league.
which to this day, I will say this, since I am speaking on a podcast, I will say this. I think it's incredibly unfair to him, Radu, because that third goal didn't change anything. They needed to win. They want to draw. The fact that he messed up, I think he's gotten too much heat on actually not being that impactful. But yeah, old news. Just wanted to say it.
No, that's a very good point. He was definitely scapegoated, as many people are, man. You look at every team, you can mention a scapegoat.
Yes,
Nowadays, like Milan, Pioli. Pioli's a scapegoat. When things
forever.
go well, wow, Leao is so good, Giroud. When things go badly, oh, Pioli set them up for failure.
Yes,
And this is football, right? A week is like a year. It's crazy.
look,
When it comes to yeah, please, sorry.
last season, or was it the season before? Maybe I'm mixing up. Inter fans were scapegoating Di Marco. Look at him now.
Yeah, yeah.
Come
I
on.
have two friends of mine are Inter fans. Shout
And your
out
friends?
Grima and Pete. Yeah, they're childhood friends of mine. I made friends with them before I knew. Uh, no, they're lovely, and I do love their takes, and their banter is witty. It's not like the cheap banter, the 20 star. And
Reload, reload.
yeah, exactly. And they had described DiMarco last season as a decent squad player, but nothing more. And I was like, guys, you're absolutely insane. You need to listen to Serie A Spotlight because we've been highlighting DiMarco and we've been raving about DiMarco since his Hellas Verona days. And look at him now. He's bloody incredible. And I think he might be the player that they miss the most from that midfield when he's unavailable because the
Yes,
transitions don't happen without him.
he offers so much. He offers a new dimension that's not possible without him.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Inter are currently in first place, of course, with 69 points. They've got a nice green slate over there. It says win, 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 win. While all the way down in 14th, we've got Lecce with 24 points with just one win in their last 5 games. I think we can move on to the next game. This is quite a straightforward one. When it's a 4-0 victory, there's not really much to say,
Yeah.
especially when it's between Inter and Lecce.
Can I just say one thing about Inter?
Please,
Uh,
yes.
Have you seen the still from the game against Bayern Munich, where Barella and who was it? There were two midfielders who dropped down to the CB spot, and you had the Vrij and the
Oh,
CB.
yes.
Yeah, and also in the game yesterday against oh my god,
Atalanta.
Atalanta, you have Barella dropping down on the right back position, playing Di Marco on the right wing position, not the left wing, the right wing position. My God, they are cooking there.
What is Limone cooking, bro?
Yeah, there's some dodgy things in that lemon sauce of his.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's wild. And I often find myself watching Inter thinking, what the hell is he doing there? Like look at Pavard advancing, and then you see Barella sitting in the
Mhm.
mid at the back in defense. Yeah, the way they move is very fluid, man, and everyone knows exactly what needs to be done, from the starters to the substitutes, and that's all credit to Simone Inzaghi, who's really given this Inter team a new identity post Conte, which is very difficult to do because they already had their own, system under Conte, which granted was similar, but this just seems like
Yeah.
it's got a little touch of pep in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it is. It got some salt in it, right?
Yeah, a little bit of yeah. Yeah, I think we can move on to Juve. Juve
Mhm.
played Frosinone. They won 3-2 in the end, but boy, did they have to sweat. And when it comes to their lineup, they played a 3-5-2 formation and were probably surprised by Frosinone, who mirrored their formation. Frosinone started with a 3-5-2 formation, and they don't often do this season. Um, Szczesny was in goal for Juve with Gatti, Bremer, and Rugani at the back. Cambiaso and Kostic were out wide with McKennie, Locatelli, and Rabiot playing in midfield. Vlahovic and Chiesa were the striking partnership. For Frosinone, it was Cerofolini in goal with Nadir Zortea, who I'm a big fan of, at right back, Valeri on the left, Okoli, Romagnoli, and Lirola as the centre back trio, with Harui, Mazzitelli, and Brescianini in the middle, and Sule and Kedira up front. Now, it all started with a Vlahovic goal in the 3rd minute, and then Frosinone would shock the world when they would get goals in the 14th and the 27th minute through Kedira and Brescianini. Very nice work by Zortea to whip in a perfect ball to Kedira on the first goal, and Brescianini with a lovely strike in the 27th as well, the former Milan man, to give Frosinone the lead. But then in the 32nd minute was Vlahovic with a cyborg-esque finish, very Robocop-esque, just like laser auto-lock shoot, like from incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
he's on fire these days.
He really is, man. I saw a meme, people arguing about Osimhen or Lautaro, and it's just Juve fans, just enjoying Vlahovic.
Mm.
'Cause he's really back to his best. And in the second half, of course, Allegri tried to spice things up. He brought on Yildiz and Wea in the 62nd minute instead of Chiesa and Kostic. This proved to not be, it wasn't quite enough, as they couldn't get the ball over the line in the 95th minute. The unlikeliest of outlets managed to get Juve across the line, and it was Daniele Rugani, thanks to a Vlahovic assist. Yeah, man, I thought that Frosinone were going to get something here.
What was the third goal of Vlahovic assist?
Yeah.
Damn,
It
so
was,
you got 2 goals and an assist. Wow.
absolutely, yeah. Mr. Juve nowadays.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Um, tell me,
yeah.
tell me.
No,
Okay, I was gonna go on, and yeah, the online, the pleasures of online
yeah, it's tricky.
communication.
Yeah.
It really is, and I'm quite a talkative Mediterranean man myself, so I'm constantly interrupting everyone already. So this doesn't help at all.
No, please interrupt me as much as you want. That's
Yeah, this victory maintains Juve's unbeaten head-to-head record against Frosinone. They've got 8 wins and 1 draw. Um, they This was Vlahovic's 75th Serie A goal that inspired Juve's comeback. I was quite impressed, to be honest, by quite a few players this game. First of all, McKennie, man, in that first goal had that touch, man.
Mhm.
First touch was amazing. I didn't think that Weston was capable of a first touch of that caliber. He's
And
really
the run as well.
the run, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Everything
perfectly
about
timed. Yeah, and
the run,
he's
the ball, the touch. Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of scapegoats, he's another scapegoat as well for Juve fans. And I mean, look, 2 assists. And who was it that Juventus played? It was rather good the previous game as well for Juventus. What was that game? I can't remember right now.
Um, it was a draw. That's who. Hellas Verona, was it?
Was it that one? No.
I think so. Let's take it. Let's quickly check. Du-du-du-du-du-du-du-du. Yeah, the
Fixtures.
previous game was the Verona one. Yes, away from home, 2-2.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was pretty good that game. So he's been good all season, McKennie, man. He's been a super revelation for them after going off to Leeds and disappearing off the face of the earth. Everyone probably thought that I'd never see McKennie in a Juve kit again, but here he is, man, playing such an important role.
Hmm. Yeah, no, he did great, but Vlahovic, man, he's not just inside the box anymore. He's coming down. He's picking up the ball. He's playing other. He's making the players around him good as well as he's performing himself. So hats off to him. I hate to see it though.
Absolutely. One thing I admire about Vlahovic is even when he was at his worst and when nothing was working for him, he was always a team player, man. He was always the perfect professional. He was always working hard. He always put the team first, even when he was flopping. Like he had certain moments that were embarrassing when he was off form. You know what happens to a striker? You get in your head,
Yeah,
you end up being shot on confidence, like, and but he was always there, man. He always celebrated hard with his teammates when they scored. He was always a proper example, man. And it's nice to see that it's working out for him. And it was always going to work out for him because he's that type of person, man.
am I allowed to shit a little bit on him though?
Please,
Since
go. Is it about his hairstyle? Because he looks a little bit.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, his hair is definitely weird. Who cut
yeah.
that? No, he has. I think he has a bit poor attitude. Since you were mentioning like
Hmm.
his teammates, when things don't, when he doesn't get the passes he wants, he's a bit of a crybaby. I have to say. I think he is complaining maybe a bit too much, and he does this one thing that I hate from a lot of football players. Lukaku also does this as well.
I was going to say Lukaku, man. I was going to compare. I was going to make the comparison, but go on.
Uh, okay, so he does this one thing where, let's say a player, a teammate has the ball, he's dribbling inside the box, and he tries to shoot or he tries to cross, and it ends up in nothing. Vlahovic comes 3 seconds later and is pointing with both hands down to his
Oh,
face. Like,
yeah.
I was here. I was here. No, you were not there. You were not there when the pass came. You were not there when the run started. You were there 3 seconds after, which is completely different. So he does
Yeah.
this, and it I actually bothers me. Lukaku does the same thing. It's like the run is over. He's already shot at goal. It didn't happen. Lukaku continues his run for some reason for 2 more meters, and it's like, I'm wide open. What are you doing? No, you're not. You are not wide open. Shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's the strikers, right? I mean, they're technically well within their rights to complain and to demand the ball because low scoring figures for strikers reflects very badly on them and on their CV. You know, no one wants a striker who doesn't score. So yeah, it's a little bit understandable. The funniest one of the week, though, it is annoying, by the way. The person who I couldn't stand is when Higuain joined Milan. I couldn't wait for him to leave, man, from the get go. Do you
yeah.
remember the way he spoke to his teammates? The way he just acted like he was bigger than the club, man, back then.
Arrogant cunt. Sorry
Yeah,
to say, but
literally,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't stand watching him. And then the meltdown against Juve, that was a time when I actually realized like this guy is not okay, man.
And the
He's not
price
okay.
tag, it was a record fee at the time, wasn't it? It
Yeah, I
was,
believe so.
or for Milan at least. Of course, the record fee was from Napoli to Juventus, which was 90 million, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah, yeah.
But for Milan, it was also like top
Yeah,
10 most expensive players ever. Yeah, fuck it.
absolutely. And then for him to flop like that. But he did have a few moments where he showed us what Pipita can do. No, scoring out of nothing. That turn and shoot. I love that. But
He's a
but
good player. Yeah.
absolutely. As long as it's not an important game. Um, one thing I would like I wanted to mention was Simeone, man. This match day, Simeone had the exact same thing, man. Honestly, Napoli lost. I'm jumping to Napoli a little bit because you mentioned this thing about strikers,
Mhm.
pointing
Yeah.
right in front of them for their teammates to play them the ball. You should have passed. I was open.
Mhm.
Simeone screamed. He screamed at one point when they were 1-0 up towards the end of the game. I think it was Politano who had a clear shot at goal, but Simeone was wide open on the left, and Politano went for an outstep shot instead. And you literally hear from the TV, you hear Simeone going like like literally screaming,
Yeah.
and Politano apologizing. Only 3 minutes later, Simeone was in the exact same position and he shot and he missed with a teammate
Mhm.
wide open. I was like, You, sir, are a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite.
That's the difference between a striker and a winger.
Yeah, exactly. The winger will forgive his teammate essentially. Yeah.
We've sidetracked a little bit, haven't we?
Yes, totally. I want to go back and talk about Khedira. Khedira scored his first goal since September. Can you believe that? He's a starting striker for Frosinone. Of course, Kyle George has been stepping in a little bit. But as a player, I don't know if you've watched a lot of Khedira, but I've never really been much of a fan. I used to watch him at Bari, and I always thought that as a striker, he has a lot. He leaves quite a bit to be desired, personally. I'm curious about his age because I don't even think he's that young anymore. Khedira, he's 26 years old. I think that this at the moment might be his level, and I think another year in Serie B or another 2 years in Serie B or just staying in Serie B would probably be better for him.
Yeah, there's nothing remarkable about him. You don't really notice him when he plays.
Yeah.
But in his first goal, I will credit him in the build-up. You can, if you follow just him in the build-up, not the beautiful pass from Sule and the cross and everything. You can see that Cambiasso they are wrestling. He's holding him with both hands on his shoulders. He's pushing it. Khedira is pushing back. It's like this is not football at all. This is a wrestling match. Khedira somehow slips him. He goes behind Cambiasso's back. He tricks him, and then runs back out towards the penalty spot. And Cambiasso has no idea where he is. So he did a clever fox in the box movement there to get rid of the marking man.
There
But
we go.
I agree with you, as you say. There's nothing extraordinary about him. There's nothing that brings attention to him, really.
But that's a very good point because he totally outsmarted a younger player, which was always nice to see. So hopefully this could prove to be a little bit of a confidence boost for him. Scoring against Juve will always be a confidence boost. Yeah, a player who's never impressed me, but at the end of the day, maybe it's not the perfect time to mention this because he has just scored against me.
Yeah.
But I do want to highlight, man, Zortea, in my opinion. First of all, I'm surprised that Atalanta have loaned him out because I think he's deployable even at that level. He has been a beast at Frosinone in the 2 or 3 games he's played, bombing up and down that flank, man. He's a threat. Defensively, not as good as he's offensively, but he's still quite dependable. I'm a big fan of Zortea. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him.
But in Atalanta's defense, Emil Holm has been rather good as well, I have to say.
Emil Holm has been a revelation for them, man.
Yes.
And I can't believe this is the same Emil Holm that was at Spezia. Wow, he's good, man. Wow, he's good.
So I think it's okay that Zortea is not in Atalanta right now because we would be denied of watching him play, I think.
Absolutely, yes. And there's Zappacosta there as well. So he's definitely got competition if he were to stay.
Yeah.
But I was surprised because in the first few games Zortea played, he actually played, and I think he scored for Atalanta in one of the opening 3 games of the season. So I did think that he was gonna feature. But yeah, a lone move at Frosinone right now, a very exciting Frosinone who play an attacking brand of football, will definitely be good for Nadir Zortea. And trust me, when it comes to Atalanta, they know what they're doing when it comes to player development.
Yes, they know how to spike the drinks.
Absolutely, yeah. They know how to, bend the rules a little bit. This is Brescianini's 3rd goal of the season. He's also been looking quite good. When it comes to this Frosinone side, the individuals look good because of the brand of football they play, right? It's offensive, it's exciting. There are many highlights, many moments for these players. But personally, if you had to ask me, Alen, I would say very confidently that, okay, the 3 teams that are going to get relegated is a very difficult question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ones I'm most confident about are Salernitana, of course. And second to them, I would say Frosinone, man. I would say Frosinone. And I'm sure you know this because you're a listener. But what do you think? I would say it's Salernitana, Frosinone, and Hellas Verona. That's my take. And Hellas Verona, I'm not confident at all about because they've actually been pretty bloody good.
Yes, that's really weird considering they've sold so many players.
Yeah.
They almost seem better. But yeah, we're not talking about Verona right now. Um, Look, I remember you put up that poll in the wonderful group chat. Subscribe, everybody, group chat, group chat. It's amazing. Um, the thing about Frosinone is that they have had a tough couple of runs. They have played good teams. They will have easier games to come, and it's an offensive team. I didn't vote them to get relegated. I voted on Salernitana, Verona, the same reason as you, and I went for Sassuolo actually.
Wow.
Yes, but the thing about an offensive team is that they can lose. Let's say they lose 4 games in a row, but I think Frosinone has it in them to win that fifth game. And when the margins are as close as they are in the bottom group, winning, let's say if they get 9 more points for the rest of the season, that might be actually enough for them. Maybe not 9, maybe 12. But
Ah,
I think they have it in them to get a surprise victory. And they did rattle Juventus away from home. So it's not, I think they have a chance, even though they are getting steamrolled in a lot of games against the top sides.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's always going to happen when you're not stubborn in a negative way, but when you're stubborn with your approach, that's always going to happen when you attack every single person, every single team that you come up against. That's always going to happen, right? You might experience quite a few losses.
Yeah.
The thing, a question for you, and maybe I'm putting you a bit on the spot over here, but you mentioned that Frosinone have the potential to win one odd game in every five, but wouldn't you say the same about Sassuolo when Berardi's back?
Mm, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah, that's the thing. And it's when Barad is back, it's not going to be just an odd game. It's going to be against Inter.
yeah, exactly, dude. It's gonna happen.
Well, that's not a possibility anymore. They have played each other twice, but or have they? Never mind. But yeah, you're right. You are. But let me just say this. Sorry to go back a little bit because I
No problem.
switched my tabs a little bit while you were talking. Frosinone recently played Fiorentina, Roma, Juventus. Their next games are going to be against Lecce, Sassuolo, Lazio, Genoa, Bologna. Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
good. That's
Yeah.
good, bro.
So
That's
I
gonna
guess
be very telling and very entertaining for us to watch.
yes, but your counter argument definitely stands. It's if Frosinone can win an odd game here and there, definitely Sassuolo can do the same once they get Berardi back. But there's something about this Sassuolo team that frustrates me a lot. I think they're really, really poor. The way I justified it in the group chat is that I wrote that I have a feeling, this is my feeling, most likely it's wrong. I have a feeling that a lot of these other teams they have this final do or die spirit in them. They want to die. They want to kill. You know, I
Yeah, yeah.
can't see Sassuolo doing that. For me, Sassuolo is like, let's see what Berardi does. I
Yeah.
don't see that team spirit, the will to sacrifice themselves. I don't see that will to die for the team that I can imagine the other ones can get.
That's a very good point, and that's something that I've also observed with Sassuolo because it's almost pedestrian. It's
Yeah,
almost like everyone just blaming each other when a goal is scored, and they have no team spirit. However, I feel like that team spirit and then is all embodied and encapsulated by one man, and that is Berardi, because Berardi can't stand losing, man. He's the type, man, that he'll do everything within his power, within his skill set to try to avoid a loss and to try to fire up his teammates and to try to lead the way. He's become a proper leader over there, man. And look, to the next team to basically buy Berardi is going to be a very lucky team. I know he doesn't have the flashiest name. I know that he's got quite a bad rep as a player who's settled and a player who's always been afraid of the big stage. But that, in my opinion, is not true at all, because he has always thrived whenever Sassuolo had a big stage game against a big opponent. Who was the man to win them the game? It
Yeah,
was always Berardi, man. Always.
I totally agree with you, 100%. And I think the criticism towards him and the stats and the national team, very unfair. I think he has shown that he has the quality. And look at the team with him, and look at the team without him, and that speaks for itself. It's like I don't need to say anything else. That's my impression.
Absolutely, man. When I was growing up, I had Di Natale as the provincial king. Now
Uh-huh.
it's Berardi, man. Berardi.
Mm.
Berardi's absolutely amazing, and we're lucky to watch him. And even when he's trying to force his way out, when he comes back into that team, he's leading the way.
What about
Always.
Fabrizio Micoli?
Fabrizio Meccoli, man. Fabrizio, I had the pleasure, I'm sure you know, of watching him play for our local Birkirkara side.
A lucky
Incredible,
man. You're a lucky man.
dude. Incredible. He was slightly overweight. Let's keep that between us and everyone listening.
He was that
And
his entire career. He was never fit.
yeah, he was always. I think that's what stopped him, to be honest. Ultimately, from really becoming a great player, because he was fucking incredible, man. The things he could do on the pitch, shooting from anywhere, like a superhero. And you look at him, he's just this tiny Sicilian, stocky guy, And then when he came to Malta, he had the McDonald's logo on his stomach. That was quite funny.
Yeah, he utilized that sponsorship, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair enough. But yeah, man, Juve, honestly, I think that this was a very important victory for them, finally winning a game in February. Um, they were destined for another draw towards the end, and to be honest, they were resilient enough. And I'm gonna say it, maybe they were lucky, okay, that Rugani found himself in that place. But first of all, that finish by Rugani was very good. That was a tight angle, squeezing it into the back of the net from that angle was very good by Rugani. But it's the fact that they never gave up. It's the fact that this Juve team, this is what I told Matt in the last episode, they are demoralized. The Scudetto has slipped out of their hands. They're playing once a week. Top four is pretty much secure. They don't really have any major worries, I mean, they're probably going to get over the line. They're probably going to qualify for Champions League. So they're at the stage right now where they're at a crisis. Why are we playing? Why the hell are we even playing? What is there to fight for? Apart from trying to impress and trying to improve my own records and my own statistics. Why am I playing week in, week out? What is
Yeah.
there to win? Nothing.
But there is pride to it. You saw it in the game. I have to confess, I didn't watch the first half. I tuned in during the second half because I was like, "Ooh, Juve might actually drop points here." And they fought. It didn't look like a team that was careless. They fought, and okay, you can say that they were lucky with the goal in the end, and like he takes the shot from that weird angle, and it's a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't believe it himself, but what else is he going to do? He's going to take the shot, right? But on the other hand, you can also say they were quite unlucky to not score earlier because they completely dominated the second half. What I was watching, you were dominating every aspect of the game,
Totally.
but the big chances were missing, which is probably the biggest criticism against Juve maybe this entire season, or Allegri's Juve, or if you're in Allegri out, whatever. The chances were lacking, but in terms of the play, they were 2 leagues above Frosinone. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but so yeah, they were lucky with the goal, but they were so much better that I think they deserve it, honestly.
No, no, absolutely, yes. The statistics speak for themselves. I'm going to mention XG. Trigger warning. Juve had a 2.19 XG, while Frosinone had 0.48. I mean, Frosinone had 2 shots on target and they scored both of them. That's always quite telling. You look at Juve, for example, they had 22 attempts, with 5 of them being on target, and they managed to get 3 goals. That's still an impressive conversion rate when it comes to the shots on target.
Definitely.
Yeah, at this point, I think it would be a good time for Juve to really figure out what are we gonna do next season? What's the plan from here? What are we gonna do with Chiesa? What are we gonna do with the midfield? With the who's gonna stay? Are we bringing Soler back? These are the questions I think that need to be addressed now. I would go as far as using the next few games just simply as an experiment for Chiesa. I would deploy Chiesa in different situations, play him on the wing, play him as a freaking nine, it doesn't matter, play him alongside Vlahovic again. Just see what you're going to do with this guy, because as it stands right now, I think they're probably leaning towards taking the next offer that comes in for him.
Yeah, you're leading on to the question you got from, was it Frank now, about what?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I tend to do this. I ask them before before the question segment. Yes, but Frank
Um,
did ask us this question. I will get to it again in the end. We'll just shout him out. But what do you
um,
think, Alan? Do you think that they should sell him?
Look, I think I thought about the question a little bit. Shall I just say the question now?
Yeah, yeah, go for it. Go for it if you have it.
I don't, but I have it from memory. It's what should Juve do with Chiesa? Should they prolong him or should they let him go? Given, I think the salary was a question as well there,
Yeah,
or if they should use the fund somewhere else, right? I think
exactly.
Juventus first of all needs to find out who's going to be their head coach next season. That's step one. After you have decided that, you can make a stand on what to do with Chiesa. But playing him alongside with Vlahovic as they were doing in this game, it didn't really work that well. And I'm I'm a bit sad to say because I like him. He's complaining. He's a whiny little bitch as well. but but I like his football. I like what he does with the ball in his feet. Right. Um, in this game, was it towards midway in the second half? Was it around the 70th minute? I can't remember. There was an open. Frosinone was left open. Vlahovic had the ball in the center. He played Chiesa through.
Hmm.
He could not, like Chiesa in the Euros would have outrun the entire Frosinone team. Instead, he had to slow down. He just didn't look like himself at all. So yeah, he's not the same. I agree, but I also agree with what you said. They need to try him out a little bit, and they need to figure out who the coach for next year is. If they're gonna play like this next season as well, get rid of him. There's no
Yeah,
point to have a player of that quality on that salary doing what any other player could do. I'm bit harsh maybe, but there's the way he plays now, he doesn't stand out at all. But the
not at all.
salary he receives does stand out. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. Perfectly put, man. That's it. There are expectations that come with a high salary, and he's not quite living up to them at the moment. You see him, his work ethic is never under investigation. He's never. You can't question him as a professional, man. What you can question is how these injuries have affected him. If he's
Mhm.
ever really 100% fit, because that's the question with Chiesa. Is he ever fit nowadays? Is he
Mhm.
playing at 70% constantly? Because as you said, in the Euros, he would blitz past defenders and absolutely destroy them. Here, we're seeing him slowing down and playing back. Something
Yeah.
maybe it's preventative. I don't know. Maybe he was instructed to take it easy. I don't know.
Don't go too offensive. This is Allegro
Yeah,
ball. You need to keep the ball
exactly.
possession. Goals are
Pragmatic,
secondary.
pragmatic. But yeah, it's definitely a weird one with Chiesa because the type of player he is, poor guy. I mean, you need to kind of be lucky enough with injuries to get longevity, man. Because you fizzle out very quickly. Like imagine Theo Hernandez. Imagine Theo Hernandez had the streak of injuries Chiesa had. He would totally change as a player.
Yes.
Totally. You know.
He would go back to being a CB and he would totally dominate.
Exactly. Regardless, Theo dominates. That's it. And guess
Yeah.
who I have at the back of this, by the way, bro?
Yeah. We haven't commented on it. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful bit.
it's lovely, isn't it?
I
Yeah,
know.
I feel like an Arab prince.
Obviously, somebody listening on only Spotify won't know, but you're wearing is it the special edition kit that's called from
Yes,
AC Milan, the white
yeah.
one?
I believe this is the new away kit. No, or am I mistaken? Is it the fourth kit? I'm not sure. It's one of
I think
them
it's
though.
the fourth one. Yeah.
It might be the fourth one. Yeah, I mean it's probably the fourth one. I'm just mixing it up because it's white. But yeah, it's one of the new special kits. If you tune into YouTube, you might be able to see it. I say might because I can't promise you that I'm gonna manage to put this stuff together. I'll try my best. We are recording this, and I'm sure you can head over to YouTube to see our beautiful faces. Is that a scarf or is that your chair, by the way, with the Milan
Ah,
logo?
no, it's a scarf.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I don't actually have this out usually, but I try to decorate it for the podcast
Yeah.
a
I
little
put
bit.
my Saponara shirt on display as the. There we go.
Your
The king.
favorite player. Yeah.
Of course, of
Oh,
course.
but
I've
that's a
please.
sweet kid cake with and what's not visible right now on the video is that it has the Dumo lines. Uh-huh. So if anybody has been in Milano, the city, you will recognize the Duomo and there. Yeah,
And
it's
you're
nice.
wearing your Mexico kit, aren't you?
Yes, my Mexico
Yes.
kit. Yeah.
Do you have a name at the back?
Nope, it's currently nameless. I was hoping that Santi Jimenez maybe would sign for Milan one day and then I could get his name, but for now it's nameless.
Fair enough, bro. Nameless, to be honest, can look cool too, aesthetically. So let's get back to it. Juve are currently in second with 57 points, while Frosinone are down in 16th with 23 points. And we can move on to the Milan game, bro. It's Milan 1, Atalanta 1.
Can we skip it?
Yeah, I mean it would be nice to skip it, and I'm sure you're gonna have a lot to say about this one because you couldn't believe your eyes with the penalty, right?
No, I couldn't.
Mm,
Jake, it's so frustrating. I'm still angry. I
of course,
haven't. Yeah.
it's so the thing that's the most annoying thing about that penalty. I'm not even gonna go to lineups. I'm gonna jump straight into it. Okay, dude. Atalanta were awarded a penalty for what was it? A high boot by Giroud on Emil Holm. Holm went down holding his face. He was nowhere near his face, right? So, if anything, the contact was made with his chest, and he played the ball, and it was the slightest contact imaginable, right? Now,
Yeah.
Orsato, the infamous Orsato, the same Orsato whom Modric called a disaster of a referee, um, ran up to the monitor. As he was running up to the monitor, Pioli approached him, said something to him. I'm not quite sure what Pioli said to him, of course, but he was booked immediately. You know how Orsato is. He's a disciplinarian.
Yeah.
He's a teacher. He's a fucking yellow card immediately. He goes to the monitor, and it's almost like he did it out of spite because Pioli spoke to him. So it was almost like a punishment. That's what it felt like. He saw one angle that wasn't clear at all. We saw what Orsato was seeing.
Yeah. One
Not
time,
clear.
one angle, one time.
One angle, one time, turns round, whistles, penalty awarded. What are you doing? And
Yeah.
this is a proud referee, Orsato. Orsato's the type of referee who doesn't like to be proven wrong. He's the type of referee who would challenge VAR usually. So I don't know what the hell this was all about, man. That penalty was fucking bogus to me. Bogus.
Total bullshit. Everybody who's seen it has said it's bullshit. Every pundit I've listened to said it's bullshit. The commentary on the Norwegian TV that I was watching said it's bullshit. I was rewatching the highlight for this recording. They said it's bullshit. The English commentary, it's not a penalty. It's never is a penalty. I want to say one thing about Orsat. Honestly, I don't want to talk about the penalty too much because it angers me. It's never a penalty. Holm is coming from behind on Giroud. Giroud lifts his foot. He pulls it back as soon as he sees that a collision is happening. The touch is so minimal. I almost doubt that Emil Holm even felt it. He holds his face. The entire thing is a charade, and Orsato goes and gives a yellow because he's the big man, and Pioli. Let's assume Pioli said something bad. Okay, so the penalty is bullshit. What I almost frustrated me equally much was the yellow on Rafa Leao at the end of first half. He gets butchered out there. He stands up and is like, "What the fuck, ref?" Something you see players do 10 times per half of the game.
It's how Barella plays football. Barella does that all game.
Yeah, precisely. Within a split second, Orsato is lifting the yellow card, right? Second half, Lukman enters for Atalanta, sorry. He does something similar. Lukman is a bit more, his body language is a bit more aggressive. He does this thing with his arm,
Yeah.
He's pissed off. Instantly yellow to Lukman. I disagree with that one too as well. What bothers me, and this is the big thing, after Lukman gets his first yellow, he gets fouled 3 or 4 times more that game. He does the same thing. He gets pissed off every time. He does the same movements like, "What the fuck, ref? What is this? Blah, 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 blah." He got the yellow first time he did that. He didn't get the yellow the next 3 times. He did that exact same thing. Come on.
Where's the consistency?
I don't want Lukman to get double yellow for that. I think it would be wrong. But if you're going to set a standard, follow it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. There was also one moment, I think it was Lukman and Theo Hernandez. Was it Lukman? They were just shushing each other. Both doing this to each other. Funny little moment. I couldn't believe how long they were doing it for. Are you really still going at it? But yeah, that's the thing when it comes to these yellow cards. If someone protests, you can easily hand out a yellow card. But what happens when they're on a yellow and they do it? Then it feels harsh. So does it really warrant a yellow card from the get-go? Yeah,
no, it doesn't.
Absolutely. I agree with you totally, Alen. I think in a heated affair, this is competitive sports at the highest level. I think a little bit of dissent can be excused, a little bit of protest to the referee. Orsato's so the type to be like, only the captain can talk to me. If you talk to me and you're not the captain, you're getting a yellow card. Which is a kind of an old school approach, yes.
It's ridiculous. I want to say one more thing, though. I think Scalvini, this is something that frustrated me throughout the game. Credit to Scalvini, he played a great game, by the way.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
He fouled Leao, him fouling Leao, nobody else, just Leao, at least 5 times. That was the part of the plan of match game for Scalvini. If Leao is about to pass you, you foul him. He did it 5 times minimum. I didn't count, but minimum 5 times. How does that not accumulate to a yellow? But Leao and Lukman getting upset because they got butchered out there is an instant yellow. It's like you're more concerned about your ego than protecting the player you're supposed to protect. You're more concerned about your ego than doing the job you're put there to do.
And that's what people don't seem to realize when they people don't seem to realize the importance of a referee actually handing out yellow cards in situations like that, because as you said, these players need to be protected. The likes of Leao, Leao was getting killed out there, dude. At one point I was pretty sure that Milan were forcing play down the right hand side, down Pulisic's side, probably because of that reason, man. Leao was getting butchered and nothing was happening. It was 1 foul, 2 fouls, 3 fouls, no cards at all. And it's the referee's responsibility to stop this, because it's unsportsmanlike behavior, more than speaking back to the referee, or protesting the decision of a referee. Yeah, I mean, priorities, Orsato. You're an experienced manager nowadays, bro. Experienced coach, referee in this point.
Look, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to not go into this dark, deep hole and ruin your podcast. But
that's all right.
Let's go to the positives. Yassin Adli, this game was amazing.
It was fantastic.
It was so fun to watch. He has this cool thing about calm with the ball. He doesn't get stressed if a player is pressing him. He doesn't get stressed if the passing option isn't there. He's going to keep the ball another 2 or 3 seconds to find the correct pass, to find the correct option, and he's going to play it. And in this game, it worked against Monza. It didn't work, and when it doesn't work, it looks horrible. But against Atalanta, it really worked, and it was so pleasing to watch. I really enjoyed it.
I was worried that it was going to be a downward spiral after that Monza game, to be honest, because that was an abysmal performance. But the way he picked himself up, man, is commendable, and he did play a very good game, and he's so fun to watch. He's got the whole vintage vibe about him, the way he whips those balls over the top. You can't help but say it, no, man. That's Andrea Pirlo, man. That's Pirlo. That's
Yes,
Pirlo,
he
baby.
has that thing. It's the exact same thing that Pirlo. He didn't get stressed because a player was pressing him. He kept cool. He kept calm. He was waiting for the correct opening, to the correct time to play the pass. Adley has that same thing, but uh, there's I have several criticisms, but there is one thing that Pirlo definitely had that Adley doesn't, and it's that Pirlo was aware of every other teammate before he received the ball. I feel that Adley has a little bit of he receives the ball and then he looks around.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I mean, Pirlo was one of a kind, generational. He was the best in that role. When you think deep lying playmaker, it's Pirlo. Pirlo is the prototype. He's the example. No, so of course, yes, sadly is yeah, so it's a long way to go before he reaches Pirlo's level, of course. But yeah. Very promising signs for Adli. This is the first season where he's actually playing first team football for Milan regularly. So I'm very impressed. I thought he was going to be forced out. I'm so proud of him, and I'm so happy that he managed to essentially force his way into Pioli's system, because that's what he did.
Yes,
He
yes, he
forced
did.
his way. Yeah,
Yeah, he started out as a 10, right? And
exactly.
there
As
was
a
no
quite
room for him in Milan as a 10. So yeah.
absolutely. We haven't even talked about Leao's goal, by the way, which was absolutely incredible. Just 3 minutes
Yeah.
into the game, he's played the ball by Theo Hernandez. He does Leao things. He absolutely
An
destroys his.
attack that's sorry to interrupt you. An
Please.
attack that started with Adli switching play from right to left.
Exactly. Very, very important detail there. It's on topic. And Leao just absolutely does his man, takes a slight touch off his knee. Slightly lucky that it fell right in front of him, but of course, it feels like when you see Leao enter his stride like that, it's like everything is in control.
Yeah.
And then the finish, man.
Oof. Yeah. Oof. Look, I saw it when I saw it on TV watching the game. I thought that the ball was bouncing. So I was a little bit like, ooh, lucky Lau that the ball was bouncing so he can hit it from the from under on a good angle. But then I saw the replay and the ball was actually rolling around the grass. It wasn't bouncing anymore. The bounce was already passed.
Mm,
So it's such a perfect strike. It's insane. And yeah, you can say he was lucky in a sense that he was able to move the ball forward with the knee. But then again, the ball bounced up and he improvised in that split second. He
exactly.
improvised and he decided to, I'm going to drag it further with me with my knee. And boom, what a goal, man.
Absolutely incredible goal, honestly, and how important was that for him? You could see how much it meant to him, man.
Yeah,
Um,
he
the
did the
signs up.
comeback celebration.
Keep fucking talking. Serie A
Uh,
Spotlight.
nah, you were not bashing him, were you?
No. Well, we do criticize him sometimes, as in we criticize when he doesn't play to his strengths. For example, we criticize when he's attempting long range shots because, let's be real, he hasn't scored a long range shot. We
Yeah.
He has a set of skills, Leao, that he's top tier at. When it comes to beating his man in 1v1 situations out wide, when it comes to driving to the byline, when it comes to cutting back, when it comes to cutting inside and shooting, he's top. But you're
Yes.
not going to get the ball, drive, try to cut inside down the middle and have a crack from outside the box. That's not what you do. That's not what you're known for.
Yeah.
That's not playing to your strengths. That's literally wasting everyone's time. And that's my only criticism for Leo. I don't even mind that he walks because he lures the people around him into a false sense of security. Second time I've mentioned that this podcast. And then he bursts, he bursts. All that walking, I think, is part of a tactic. It's part of a game plan to get the defenders to walk. And then he has that burst of pace that no one around him seems to have, man. I like it.
Look, world's best football player, he tends to walk a lot as well. It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. Walk and scan, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hoop Miners is penalty. He went down the middle. Manyan dove out of the way. One thing I do want to say about Coop Miners is that as we mentioned, he's one of the genius Atalanta players. And this is what I said on the group chat after his penalty. How clever is Coop Miners, man? He knew that Manyan, he must have known that Manyan is a goalkeeper under fire at the moment. He's been criticized for not saving penalties. He's been criticized for not even tracking his penalties. Um, so Manyan, with all this criticism over him, he has the whole world watching. We know what type of goalkeeper Manyan is. We know what type of person, to a certain extent, Manyan is. Um, he would want to save that, and he would want to save it extraordinarily. The last thing Manyan would want to do is not dive while a penalty is taken top corner. While he's
Yeah.
caught flat-footed in the middle. That's only going to call for more criticism. Coop Miners steps up and he blasts it right down the middle. Obviously, Manyan's going to dive out of the way. How clever is that, man? How clever was that penalty?
Did it, yeah. Yeah, as you say, he's one of those genius Atalanta players. Currently, he's playing this offensive position. His intelligence, I'm sure you could plug him in a lot of positions in the field and he would still be amazing. But yeah, as you say, that penalty kick, he had it sorted out. He knew what he was going to do before he put the ball down on the penalty mark. It was all calm and cool and controlled, and he didn't look stressed for 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Imagine a universe, bro, where Jim City scored that back heel attempt, by the way. The one on that corner, that would have been crazy if that went in. Thankfully, we're not talking about that. By the way, total disaster. Forgot the goal of the week. Didn't even talk about it. Didn't even address it. Totally forgot the goal of the week, dude. Our goal of the week goes to who was our goal of the week anyway, right now?
Paulo Dybala.
Paulo Dybala, yes, for a
Oh,
fantastic goal, a fantastic curler from miles out. If you
he's not
made it,
going to get pissed off now.
he might a little bit, but probably not. I mean, he's probably grateful that the episode happened anyway without him. Yeah, this would have been a disaster if it weren't for you, Alan. You've heard the episodes that I had to do alone, and they are never fun. It's always like I make a point or I blab on, and then I stop, and it's almost like I'm waiting for someone to react, but no one
Yeah.
reacts. Then I just have to pick up from where I left off. It's
Yeah,
very difficult. One man podcasts are totally difficult.
I understand
Um,
it's difficult. Yeah.
yeah, one thing I do want to say is that I have been so impressed by Pulisic, so impressed by Pulisic. He's a
Mm.
leader. He's tidy. He's so tidy in his play. So tidy when it comes to just his first touch, the way he controls the ball, the way he can either cut inside or go towards the byline. I think he's a very, very good football player, and he's finally found some continuity. He's not struggling too much within the injuries, and I'm going to touch wood over there. Pulisic so far has been has been so impressive to me, so impressive, even when he's not scoring. A very impressive player.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to Pulisic, yes, I'm a massive fan. Anyway, I don't know if there are any other takeaways you have from the game, Alan.
Besides Pulisic, sorry. I have to
I'm sure
pronounce
the itch is the official pronunciation, right? And he bastardized it.
Well, yeah, he said that he himself pronounces it the American way, so I'm trying to do the same, even if it goes all against all my natural instinct. Pulisic, yeah, he's great. He's really stepped up, and as you say, he's taking this leader role. Other notes I've written down about this game is a bit about Atalanta's game plan. because it was very evident that they didn't want to allow Leao any space to run into. So they were defending very, very low, but they also wanted to do the high press at the same time, which resulted in this weird dynamic where there was this wide open area in the center of the pitch that both teams kind of left open, because Milan also does the same thing, right? They press high with their strikers as high as possible. They want to press the defending line, and they try to build up from the back with the defender. So there was left this huge gap in the center of the pitch, which I think worked to Milan's advantage, especially in the first half, up until Atalanta got that penalty. It was, you could see Milan playing the ball to Adli. I think Adli looked better because of that tactic. Played the ball to Adli. Adli had the space and the time to look around and pick out the pass. But it was a very unique and weird, unorthodox way to play football, where both teams had a lot of players in each end of the pitch, and the middle was kind of left wide open.
Absolutely, and that resulted in Milan having pretty much 70% ball possession, with 68% to be totally accurate. Statistically, Milan totally outperformed Atalanta, but Atalanta, as we said, have transitioned into this more pragmatic, street smart side, and they can really take. They can get a team like Milan who wants to play possession-based football and be like, listen, you can have the ball all you want. We're going to get what we came for, and we just don't want to lose over here. I'm surprised, to be honest, that Atalanta didn't push for more, because I think they might have been able to, man. If they exercised their typical play style, I think they could have been able to get more out of the game, but perhaps it would have come at a risk. Maybe Gasperini was happy with the point against the Rossoneri.
Yeah, I had that feeling that they were maybe happy with the point, and they maybe thought like, okay, we're playing Milan away, we're going to play Inter away, like 3 days in between or whatever it was. Yeah, let's just get past this, and we're going to get the points against the other teams, which I'm sure they will. So, yeah, and the game against Inter, just since I mentioned it, you could tell like they started off quite good in the 4-0 loss, but once things went sideways, they kind of took their foot off the pedal and said like, fuck it, we'll take it the next game. So I think in this Milan game as well, they were a bit of the same attitude. Well, we don't want to lose, but we're not going to risk too much on winning.
Absolutely. Yeah. I tend to agree with you totally over there. Praise must be given to Carnesecchi, who had a solid game, unlike his game against Inter, to be honest. I like the way that he commands his box. He's very protective of the area. He comes out very well. He collects the ball. He commands the area brilliantly. And I think that really plays out of the hands of a player like Giroud, who thrives in space, and that gap between the goalkeeper and himself. That's a space where he attacks, and if the goalkeeper is rushing out, it just makes it even harder and harder for Olivier to do what he does best. So yeah, shout out Carnesecchi, very good goalkeeper. Been following you for a while. Well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, Milan are currently in third on that island, where they're quite safe in that top 4 spot, but they can't really push for the league. Pioli said that the league's pretty much done. He said he pretty much congratulated Inter, who are on another level this season. And why not? Yes, we're all thinking it, so he might as well say it himself. Right now, I wonder what Milan's objective is right now this season. Surely it's to go all the way in the Europa League. I think the Europa League must be a priority right now for Milan.
Yeah, there's nothing else. So it's a no-brainer. They have to push all the way. There are not many other teams there that are up to their level. Anything but Europa League final from Milan now would be disappointing, I think, at least.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. The next game we can talk about is Bologna-Verona. It's weird that we're talking about it so early on, despite being 1 hour and 34 minutes in, by the way. But Bologna are in 4th place, man, nowadays with 48 points, and they're really cementing that despite their little dip a few match days ago. They had a slight dip where they weren't quite as
microscopic.
Pardon?
microscopic dip. Sorry to interrupt you.
Exactly. No, absolutely. It was a microscopic dip, and I thought, to be honest, it would spiral out of hand, but they've bounced back very quickly, and they've won their past 5 games in a row. To be honest with you,
Mhm.
yeah. And this game saw Giovanni Fabian's fourth goal of the campaign. He converted a volley from Orsolini's setup. The match was actually disrupted when Rosario Abisso, the referee, was replaced by Giacomo Campione after 3 minutes. He pulled up injured. The referee was injured 3 minutes into the game. That's quite uncommon, and I can't help but find that a little bit amusing.
Yes, it is,
And
right?
yeah, it's so funny. I don't know why. Like he can get injured. He's just like the others, running out there, exerting
Yeah.
himself. But it's always so funny when a referee gets injured. Remo Freuler scored the second goal by volleying high into the net from Fabian's cross. So Fabian went from goal scorer to goal provider. And this was actually Freuler's first goal in Serie A since returning after departing from Atalanta, and his
Oh, I
first
did
goal
not
for
know.
Bologna. Yeah, so good to see him back on the score sheet, despite that not really being his game at all. But yeah, Bologna continue to prove that they are a side not to be taken lightly, because this Verona team have given the likes of Juventus problems recently.
Yeah, I actually just now realized that when I was talking about Napoli earlier, I said that they drew Verona. Obviously, I meant that Napoli drew Cagliari.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
no, Bologna totally dominated this game. We saw the Bologna that we've seen all this season, and I don't know what to say about them anymore. They just play really good football, and you can see now, as you said, more avenues for scoring goals. More players are scoring goals. It's not just a Xerxes show. Hats off to Thiago Motta, coach of the season, probably. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Coach of the season, of course. If you, I think that reward might have to go to Inzaghi. Just by the way, how dominant Inter have been, but yeah, man, Motta's definitely done God's work with this Bologna side. And when you look at the quality of the team in comparison to where they stand in the table, it's
Mhm.
definitely Motta who's overachieving over here.
Yes.
The most exciting manager in the league.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And yeah, they are ticking on all fronts. Zergzi has been a revelation, but so have the players around him, man. Fabian, his goal scoring prowess and his instinct always impress me.
Mm.
I'm always surprised by how this guy manages to insert himself and to put himself at the end of these chances. He looks so young as well, it's just so crazy seeing him being so productive with that baby face,
Yeah.
But
Look,
yeah, they played. Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
I looked through this match. I looked through the stats. I looked through the in preparation for this. I saw the match like on my phone on Friday because live.
Hmm.
Um, I saw like 10 minutes there. I was interrupted 10 minutes there. Um, but looking through the highlights and looking through the stats, Verona had absolutely nothing to show for it. There was one mistake by Skorupski that they almost, and there was this one random counter attack. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it was just Bologna all the way.
That Skorupski mistake was actually pretty well handled by Suslov, who went for a first time chip and managed to get it on target. Sorry, and it was cleared off the line.
Mhm.
Pretty impressive by Suslov. Had that gone in, I think that might have been the goal of the week.
And another player who has risen in this Bologna side.
Yeah, yeah, for Verona, surely. You mean
Sorry,
Suslov?
yeah.
Yeah. And I think Suslov has been the main guy for Hellas Verona, actually. He's been the constant all season. If you look at, okay, Juric started the season very well, but he fucked off halfway through. He got out of that train wreck of a team.
Never liked him.
Bonfire sale there, man. It's pretty catastrophic what's going on at Hellas Verona. And when it comes to the teams that I want relegated, man, I look at the likes of Salernitana. I don't want Salernitana gone, man. I think that Salernitana have actually a pretty interesting project with a nice sporting director. Granted, the sporting director wasn't there from the get-go. I like the fans. I like the club. I like what they are. I don't want to see them going. Then you have the likes of Hellas Verona and Udinese, who have just been fucking free falling for season after season. They just get worse and worse and worse, kind of like what Genoa were doing up until the relegation and the revitalization. But yeah, it's a shame that Udinese will probably survive, and let's hope that Verona get the punishment they deserve so that they can start from scratch and create a new blank slate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. For Salernitana, just the fans want me to have them up there. That alone, everything else I don't care that much about. We haven't come to the Salernitana games. I'm gonna try to keep it short, but yeah, their fans are amazing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yes. Bologna, with their impressive victory, have cemented their position in fourth spot with 48 points, while Hellas Verona are in 17th, temporarily out of the relegation pool, tied on points with Sassuolo with 20 points. Yes, bro. Skorupski, when it comes to Skorupski, by the way, this is a point I wanted to make that I totally forgot. He is a great goalkeeper, quite error prone at times. He does have mistakes in him, and I think that's what's really stopping him from taking the next step. But I would love to see him play in Europe. I think that Skorupski's a player who very much deserves it. I mean, it was only last season that Matthew hailed him as the best goalkeeper in the league. We mocked him, we laughed at him. But he might have been onto something, because when it comes to shot stopping, when it comes to full stretch saves and just clutch, impressive acrobatic saves, he's probably one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He's doing the job well, no doubt. Um, can I touch upon the Juric comment about Xerxes?
Yes, please, please. Yes, he compared him to Zlatan, didn't he?
Yes. What do you make of that trick?
So when someone's compared to Zlatan, I often think to myself, okay, why would someone be compared to Zlatan? If a player is compared to Zlatan, what do I expect from the player? So first of all, I expect size. I expect physical superiority. I expect this player to be able to out muscle his defender pretty much quite easily, right? A titan of a striker. I would expect this player to have fantastic technique, like next level close ball control, able to turn, able to shoot, able to make something out of nothing. That was Zlatan. And let's not forget Zlatan. Some of the younger fans might not know how mobile Zlatan was when he was younger. He was incredible when it comes to his movement, man. He was like, imagine Zergzi, but times 100, And
Mhm.
not to mention the lethality, man. Zlatan was, and until the end, was a killer. You can't give him a second, because he would punish you for it.
Yeah.
Zergs, yeah, I understand the comparisons that have been drawn to Zlatan because he's tall, he's quite strong, he's got good technique, very good technique. And to be honest, it's the technique that's closest to Zlatan than anything else. Because when it
Yes.
comes to physical superiority, he's got a long way to go, I think. And when it comes to being clinical as a striker, he still has a lot to prove, personally. That's my opinion.
Yes, I do agree with you. I think it's a stretch, to say the least, to compare him to Zlatan. In Juric's defense, he said that he didn't say that, like, he said that in certain movements he was similar to Zlatan. But yeah, come on, bro. They are such different players. And once because I wrote this down as a Patreon question to you,
Hmm.
uh, and I Googled just to ask myself, like, how was Zlatan at age 22? And I
Hmm.
Googled, like, Zlatan in Ajax. He was there for a few seasons. And Zlatan at that time, he already had that killer instinct. He was gonna kill everybody that stood in his way. He was a mentality monster from day one. And that's not something you can teach or adapt. during your career. Either you have it or you don't, right?
Yeah.
Zlatan has it. I would say that Xerxes doesn't. Xerxes is a great player by all means, but he doesn't. The mentality of Zlatan is such a big part of his game. The will to kill. That actually rhymes. It was not intentional.
The will to
Zlatan has
kill.
the will to kill. Xerxes is an elegant player. He does move the ball around in a similar sense. He drags it with his foot. He doesn't kick it. He drags it with him. He's tall, so I get that part. But otherwise, it's there's no really very different players, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. Zlatan had the upbringing, man, of a mentality monster.
Yes.
Zlatan had a tough life, man, from the get go. He was a minority. He was racially profiled wherever he's been. He grew up in poverty, not poverty, not poverty per se, but his father was working class and had to try to provide for him. And yeah, I mean, he openly admits that he used to steal bicycles and things that modern day footballers that came up through a system would not really understand. I think that these life lessons can play a big part on the pitch, and that's why, for example, South American football players will always have this edge when they have the talent. If you have an equally talented European player and an equally talented South American player who grew up, in the streets, in the favelas in Brazil, they're gonna
Mhm.
have that edge, man. They're gonna have they just know more about life, man. That's it.
Yeah,
They
they
know
have
more
a
about
hunger.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Bologna in fourth with 48 points, while Hellas Verona are down in 17th with 20 points. And that takes us to Roma against Torino. And this was a shootout, which ended with the score of 3-2. It was Dybala who opened the scoring with a penalty before Duvan Zapata scored an expert header after being set up by the ever impressive Raul Bellanova. The second half started in the 57th minute. Dybala got his second goal, which was absolutely outrageous as a strike. Outrageous goal, and that's our goal of the week. And Brian Cristante got the assist over there, but I'm sure he didn't expect that to happen. Um, in the 69th minute, Dybala, after some brilliant hold-up play from Lukaku had some amazing centre-forward play over there. Holding the ball up and playing him in behind, and then Dybala had the tightest angle to finish from, and he still managed to squeeze it into the back of the net to complete a hat-trick. Huijsen would go on to score an own goal after coming on in the 89th minute, but that would be all for Torino, and Roma would get all 3 points. Bro, De Rossi's Roma.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's amazing. Um, Look, that's three. The third goal from Dybala is the one that, of course, the second goal is the most beautiful one, without a doubt, goal of the week.
Yeah.
But from a manager point of view, that third goal was fantastic. You have two players who single-handedly passed through four defenders like it was nothing. It's a simple play and go, play and run, or how do you say it in English? I'm not
Give
sure.
and go.
Give and go, right?
Yeah.
And the entire defense was Torino defense was open. Dybala has the quality to put it from that angle. Vanya Milinkovic-Savic is no joke. He's a really good goalkeeper, but then Dybala just has that snap that's wild. Um,
He made him
yeah,
look a bit shit, and we know he's not shit, but he made him look a little bit shit the way he just kept putting it past him.
yeah. I think it's fair to say it wasn't his best day. I think that a goalkeeper of Vanya's reach should have maybe gotten quicker to the post on the second goal.
Yeah,
I don't want to take anything away from Dybala, but I think that he should have been able to reach it slightly faster.
yeah. I do agree with you. However, man, the weight on the shot was just
Ah, yeah,
perfect. It
he
bounced
kicks
at the
through
back
it.
of the net.
Yeah, he kicks through it.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah. Safe to say Torino are missing Buongiorno once again. Yes. They had Mazzina, Lovato, and Gigi at the back, who okay, they're deployable. Not quite Buongiorno though. Let's be real. Buongiorno, I think the season has been a revelation for Torino. I would expect that he's the next defender to be snapped up in a similar way to the way Bremer was snapped up by Juventus.
He's
But
been
yeah.
linked to everybody and everything. So yeah.
Raul Bellanova, bro. When it comes to the Torino side, for me, Duvan Zapata, first of all, has this new lease of life that I thought the guy was kind of finished with the way he was playing at Atalanta. I must admit, I thought that he didn't have much left in him, and I thought that he wouldn't be as prolific as he once was.
Same.
However, this season at Torino, he's showing that he can still score a good handful of goals, you know. And Raul Bellanova, bro, just playing well, man. Just playing
Yeah.
really, really well and consistently, and being a threat and being a menace, you know. And he just seems to be fitter, man, than his opponent every time.
Yes.
He can track back. And being fitter offers you more freedom to attack and to stretch the opponent because you can track back in time. And I think that's what Bellanova's really taking advantage of right now is his fitness, quite frankly, his ability to really stretch the game and then recover. And he's been super.
But yes, fitness obviously, and but secondary, I would say that he has the confidence as well. He, especially you can see it in the goal. He's starting to run. Defender catches up to him. He has to track back. He decides, "Ah, fuck it, I'm going to go around him anyway." He has the confidence to do the things that many other defenders or fullbacks would not dare to do. He lifts it up. Can I ask you? I'm under the impression. Yeah, the beer is starting to get to me.
Yeah, same here with the wine.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that Zapata has gotten fitter.
Yeah,
When I saw him jumping up there, like that man looks like a beast. He didn't look like that with Atalanta, I felt.
not towards the end, that's for sure. He was looking more kind of like Luis Muriel towards the end of
Mhm.
his stay. Perhaps it's yeah, sometimes you need a new environment, man. Sometimes you need to work for a new man. I mean, imagine, you know, this guy went to a new team. The coach came up to me, he's a respected coach. He told me, "You are the centerpiece of my team. The team is going to play to serve you. You just need to get in shape and you need to make yourself available and be as ready as possible for all the service that you can possibly imagine because this team will work for you."
Mhm.
You'll have the likes of Ricci, you'll have the likes of Bellanova, you'll have the likes of Vlasic and Sanabria, everyone trying to serve you up a plate. And that must have motivated him much more than playing 30 minutes every week under Gasperini. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah. No, he is looking very good. And but Bellanova also is I feel like Bellanova is involved in every attack that Torino has. Everything it's I'm not gonna say that everything goes through him, but in one way or another, he's practically always involved in their attacking play as a
Yeah,
fullback.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I feel like every week we're praising him.
precisely. Um, can I ask you? I have
Please.
one question. Inter had the possibility to sign Bellanova. Do you think it was a mistake?
Yes, yes,
Definitely.
yes, yes. For
Yeah.
sure, it was a mistake. I think now they're looking to offload Dumfries. They've brought in I keep Buchanan,
I
Buchanan,
don't know how to pronounce it.
something like that. And
I'm
he's
just
only
going to
featured
Buchanan, like in the Baywatch. That's how I feel the commentators are saying it. Buchanan.
Buchanan. Yeah.
Buchanan.
Um,
Is
yes, I
he
think it was a
Canadian?
mistake. Pardon?
Is he Canadian?
I believe he's Canadian. Yes, I believe so. Yes, I think it was a mistake. I think when you look at the options they have Dumfries, who they're willing to let go of. It's pretty well known that if an offer comes in for Dumfries, I think Inter would let him go. And then they have Darmian, who, in the event of an emergency, will have to play as one of the centre backs. So
Mhm.
I think that Raul Bellanova could have been a good fit for the Inter team. Can you imagine Di Marco on the left, Bellanova on the right with this Bellanova?
Yeah. And I'm for sure he would be even better in Inter, obviously. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I remember him when he was still a Milan player. I don't know if you heard the last episode, bro. I was talking about how when he was like 16 or 17 years old, he would post the videos of his assists on Instagram. They could go such a long way, right? These players.
brother, I've heard every episode of yours.
You- the man, you're the man. Yeah. Matt and I had prepared. So for those of you who don't know, who are listening right now, Alan actually visited Malta and we watched a little bit of football with him over at our place. Matt and I were living together at the time. We had a question prepared for you, bro.
Oh,
We
did
didn't
you?
ask you though. Yes. Who do you prefer?
No, no. You don't ask a mother which child she loves the most.
Yeah,
No,
I thought so.
no, I'm never gonna answer that.
Yeah. Do you have
Uh,
any favorite moments? Any funny moments? Any favorite like highlights in your head that play mentally?
um, Look, yeah, I have those. There are moments where, because you are brothers, you have
Yeah.
this chemistry and you have this inside jokes that, in a sense, transcend very well to the listeners.
Huh.
Um, I don't think I have a favorite moment, but there are like random moments. I remember when Matt was talking about Pongracic.
Oh
He
yeah.
was like, "He's a horse,"
Yeah.
out of the blue, and it's not the comment in itself, but probably your reaction
Delivery.
to it. Both of you were just rolling on the floor laughing, and I was just imagining like, what the fuck is going on over there? And
I,
I did not catch the reference that Matt
yeah.
was. I have not seen the TikTok.
The funny thing is, I hadn't seen the TikTok either.
Mhm.
I hadn't seen. He had to pause and show it to me. He was like, "He's a horse. He's a horse," and I was like, "What the hell is he saying?" And then he showed me. He's like, "What's that horse doing over there?" It's silly.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think I have a favorite moment, but definitely when it's like those moments when you get the feeling, or when you see how well you two know each other, that that you are able to transmit well throughout the podcast. That's like, it's genuine, it's real. It's not some people pretending to know shit, or like pretending that the other one is funny. That's something I often hear in other podcasts. I'm not gonna, but this fake laughter, or like, you never have that. You're real, you're you, and those are the moments that I enjoy the most.
thank you, bro. Thank you. That's lovely to hear. Yes, having a brother is a blessing and a curse at the same time. Um, he knows everything, which naturally is too much. But yeah, Roma, bro. On the other hand, we can talk a little bit about them. I personally was not aware of Azmoon's game. I don't know about you, but this game I was so impressed by him.
Yes, he was very good. I was not aware of his game either. Um, and I'm not gonna say that Lukaku needs to look behind his back, because he doesn't. But he's also not irreplaceable. If Lukaku gets injured, Roma are not gonna be in big trouble, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, because he's a good link up striker as well. Similarly to Lukaku, he services his teammates very well.
Yeah, he has good interest industry. He's strong. He keeps the ball. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's gonna make. I think, based on this game against Torino, I think he is the type of guy who will make the others around him appear better than they
I
are.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. I had no idea he could drive like that with the ball personally as well. Every time he got the ball and he started driving with it, I was like, well, he's actually pretty good. This guy, this Asmo guy. Yeah. Yeah. And for Roma, everything's ticking. I'm very happy to see Villar in goal, who had another good game over here. A much better goalkeeper all round at the moment than Rui Patricio, and I'm gonna straight up say that because Rui Patricio, man, I often find myself wondering, is he at this level? Is he at the level? Like, this isn't the same Rui Patricio that was at Wolves. Definitely not. Definitely not.
No.
Um, Cesco praises Rui Patricio. He says that I'm a little bit too harsh. Cesco being the
Mhm.
Roma fan, our patron. But yeah, I am enjoying what Villar has been doing.
Yeah. Look. Cesco knows Ronald better than I do. Fair
Then we,
enough. But
yeah,
yeah, But for me, it's obvious that Svilar appears a lot more stable, consistent. I will say that on the first Zapata goal, I think that Svilar took his time to get over
Yeah.
across the goal.
Because it was a weird looping one, no? It was kind of, it appeared savable, but I don't think he expected it personally.
Yeah, I think he miscalculated it. I think he
Yeah.
was expecting it. He didn't know if he was going to jump far or he was going to run over, and it turned out to be a thing in between. But look, everybody can make a mistake or a miscalculation. That's part of the game.
Yeah,
But
and that header by Zapata was perfectly placed as well.
it was a like kissing the post.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's it's totally excusable. But yes, I do agree with you. I think Svilar is the future for Roma right now, the way to go. And of course, they will have to evaluate in the summer if they're gonna stick to Svilar or look for other options. But when it comes to Svilar versus Patricio, bye.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, and with this victory, Roma have charged all the way up to sixth with 44 points. They are in contention for that Champions League spot. Actually, they're just 4 points behind nowadays. They're really flying up the table, man. It just goes to show, right? With a good run of form, you can really, really, really rush up that table, man.
Yes.
Absolutely. On the other hand, Torino are perfectly mid-table. Just anytime you would say, guess where Torino are in the table. If you guess 10th, you're probably correct because they sit in 10th right now with 36 points. Perfectly mid-table, and I guess that's where they're happy to be. That's where Cairo would ideally like to be, right?
That's where they belong. Look, I want to make a point at Torino because I know you and Matt have been joking a lot, and it's super fun when you
That their
go.
missionary.
Yes, they are the missionary team.
Yeah.
But look, they are as high as they can expect to be. I I think Juric, all in all, is doing a good job with them.
I agree.
What more can you expect from Torino? Are they going to be better than? Okay, Bologna is overperforming. Strike Bologna. Look at all the other teams in front of them. Are they going to be better than Fiorentina? No. Will they be better than Atalanta? No, they don't have the talent to compete with that. I think okay, Torino are boring, but they are solid. They're doing the work. They're doing the job. Maybe they are waiting for the right time to strike gold with a player or two, but I cannot see I cannot see them doing any better. They are getting what they are expected to get, and they are not losing the points they are not expected to lose.
Absolutely, man. Juric is doing God's work, and granted, things maybe have gone stale at Torino, but it's not Juric's fault. It's the lack of quality, to be honest with you. I mean, the starting 11's okay, and that's already being a little bit lenient, saying the starting 11's
Yes.
okay, because there
Yeah.
are a few question marks over there. But the squad could improve a lot more, and I mean, Cairo, to be honest, should take that extra step and invest a little bit more if he's capable of doing it to really push for those European places. Because Torino are there, they're there with the manager they have and the way they've been playing, they can totally do it. Um, Interestingly enough, by the way, they're so missionary, Alan. Guess their goal difference.
Goal difference, it has to be quite equal. When you say it like that, it's probably like 22-22.
Dude, their goal difference is zero. They've scored 25 and they've conceded 25.
Yeah. So I was 3 goals away. Yeah.
Totally, totally, totally missionary. Now, um, yeah, I've said where they are in the table. We can move on now to Cagliari, Napoli. This, in my opinion, was Napoli failing at their own hands. This draw was all Napoli's fault because I feel like towards the end of the game they could have killed it, but the individuals went for glory instead of playing their teammates and who were in a better position. And this happened twice. Simeone being on the receiving end of it, as I alluded to earlier on, while he could have set up the second one, but he went for glory himself, proving to be a little bit of a hypocrite. Osimhen started up front. Raspadori was on the right with Kvaratskhelia on the left. It was business as usual, pretty much, with Mazzocchi as right back, Rahmani, Juan Jesus, and Oliveira at the back. Everything else was pretty much orthodox. For Cagliari, Zito Lovumbo started this game out on the left in a 4-4-1-1 formation, one of Ranieri's most infamous formations. Just two blocks of four, right? Two rows of four, very difficult to penetrate. It was Yerimina and Dossena as the formidable centre-back partnership with Nandes and Augello on the flanks. Yankto was on the right, Luvumbo was on the left. My least favorite player in the world, Deola, was in midfield, with Gaetano playing behind Lapadula. Yes, bro. I thought Napoli should have won this. They should have totally won this.
Yes,
What do you think?
but they didn't, right?
They
And
did it.
I think they need to thank themselves for it. It was there to win, and they didn't take the chance. One thing that I did find a bit funny was looking at this lineup. You had Raspadori on the right wing, not on the
Mhm.
left, which is not his natural position, right?
Yeah.
Yet again, he was among the best players for Napoli, which makes me say, "What the fuck is going on?" Seize
Yeah.
the day, yeah. But definitely Napoli could have done better in this game.
He was, yeah, Raspadori was magnificent this game. I think it's one of his best games this season, to be honest with you. Yeah, great. Towards the end of the game, okay, so of course, the first goal came. So the first goal came in the 32nd minute. Actually, it was a disallowed goal. Rahmani got into the back of the net, but it was disallowed due to him being in an offside position. In the 66th minute, and then it was Victor Osimhen who was set up by the impressive Raspadori, who gave Napoli the lead. They went on to miss all their chances, basically. And then in the 96th minute, Dossena just Hail Marys it over the top, just boots it over the top. He's like, I've got Luvumbo Zito charging at them. Let me just try to play him in behind. It wasn't even playing him in behind because it was a 50-50 in the end between
He just
Luvumbo and
hoofed
Juan
it.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Pardon?
he just hoofed it.
Yeah, he didn't really think much else, right?
Uh, um,
And Luvumbo found himself in a 50-50 with Juan Jesus, who did what every coach has instructed me not to do at my very amateur brief spell at Melita FC in Malta. Don't let the ball bounce, man. When you have a physical advantage over your opponent, don't let the ball bounce. Juan Jesus let the ball bounce. Luvumbo acrobatically, and you know how tenacious he is. He just spun with those massive thighs and his high shorts. He just turned his man and put it in the back of the net, punishing Napoli. And the scenes, of course, you can imagine in Sardinia were absolutely phenomenal. At first, it looked like he got injured. I don't know if
mhm.
he was faking it. I don't know if it was one of those trends. What do you think?
The TikTok thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I was gonna say fortunately, not fortunately. I don't want him to be injured, but I'm glad it wasn't one of those TikTok trends.
Yeah,
I think he was actually injured.
I
He
think
wasn't
so too.
faking. But did you see Deola not giving a fuck about his injury? He
Yeah,
just
no one cared.
like your teammate is in pain and you're just grabbing him from the behind. It's like, be happy, bitch, be happy. It's no, that's
In fact,
uncool.
one of his teammates became self-aware, and they actually tried to get the teammates off him, but they just kept appearing out of nowhere and jumping onto him. And it's not nice having the likes of Dos Sena and Yeremina jumping on you if you're the size of Luvumbo Zito, right?
That's a lot of
Um,
kilos, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then after everyone had jumped on him, when the fans were calling his name, he did this funny little celebration where he just kind of taunted the Napoli fans with his tongue out.
Uh,
I love it. I love it. I'm a big fan of Luvumbo Zito, bro. Um, I think that he's destined for a step up.
right, especially if Cagliari get relegated, he has to move on.
Yeah.
The question is probably where. I don't see him in the upper half of the table yet, but he has to be. Where should we put him? Monza is probably not his level. Can it be maybe Monza?
Yeah, I
Maybe
was gonna say
Monza.
Monza isn't too far off. I think.
Yeah.
I think he could do a good job over there. When it comes to yes, so Alan and I spoke a little bit about Luvumbo off air because I'm a big fan. Um, the main question that you had is why doesn't he play 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And that's a phenomenal question. We have discussed on the podcast. Perhaps it's Ranieri's overthinkering. Maybe he tries to save Luvumbo for an extra gear while also protecting him because we've seen how players play against the likes of Luvumbo and the likes of Banda and Leao as well. They just kick the
Yeah.
shit out of them. So maybe he's protecting him. Maybe he's protecting the best player that could save them from relegation. Or perhaps it's something deeper. Perhaps it's a fitness issue. Perhaps it's a work ethic issue, which would be very concerning.
Mhm.
Um, we don't know the reality behind it. But if Cyril Ngonge can get a move to Napoli, then I don't think Luvumbazito can't get a move to Monza. I don't know.
Yeah. True. Look, if this Ranieri protecting him thing was for 1 or 2 or 3 or even 4 games, I might buy it. But when you are on a full season and you're in relegation, in a relegation spot, you're second last in the league, and you're not playing who is presumably your best player, I don't think it's a tactical choice anymore. There's something more to it. I think there is a matter of discipline or fitness or maybe understanding of tactics, who knows God what. I don't think it's about protecting him anymore, because if protecting him isn't working anymore, you need to do something. Like, okay, I have this card on my hand, but I choose not to play it. My team is going to get relegated, but I'm still not going to play this card, because I have this theory about protecting him. You're about to get relegated, you play your best cards. And this is where I'm starting to question what is going on with Zito Luvumbo, because there is something there that we, the spectators, are not able to see. Why is he not playing?
That's a very good point. When you're 19th, you need your best men out there,
Mhm.
and Luvumbazito is by far their best man. He's everything, man, and quite often we find Luvumbazito being introduced to certain games when they're pretty much over. They're done. The game. They're 2-0 down. They're 3-0 down. What's he gonna do? And then sometimes he manages to ignite these miraculous comebacks. And let's not get it twisted. These comebacks, if you watch, for example, the game against Frosinone where they came back from 3-0 down, it was all Zito. It was all him. It was all Lumumba, bro, coming on. Chopping in on the right, on the left. No matter where the ball's coming from, it's him on the end of it. But yeah. I'm curious to see how his career develops. I'm a big fan of his, and I do hope that my ideal is that Cagliari survive and he stays there and he develops there. That's the best case scenario, I think.
Yeah. Well, both you and me both guessed Cagliari to survive. So
Let's go. I love
we'll
Cagliari.
see.
I've got this scarf right there. Matt and I are actually thinking of going up to Sardinia, man, before the end of the season and
That would
watching
be
a
cool.
Cagliari game. I think that would be maybe the Lecce one. Cagliari Lecce end of March. I think that would be an incredible game, unless we go on it's a 0-0.
Apparently, they have a really good atmosphere. Like, that's not very visible on TV. I don't know, but that's what I heard. Yeah.
They post some behind the scenes on social media. Like they've got their Instagram admin on the pitch, and he takes videos.
Mhm.
And like they've got these incredible angles of the goals when the players are basically running towards the cameraman, and he films the fans, and it's spectacular, man. The atmosphere looks amazing in Sardinia, really. But yeah. When it comes to the standings, Cagliari are in 19th with 20 points, while Napoli are in ninth with 40 points. They'll be hitting themselves for not closing this one out, especially after demolishing Sassuolo 6 goals to 1. The next game we can cover is Fiorentina 2, Lazio 1. This was a massive game that happened on a Monday night. It was a little bit of a treat, to be honest. And I think to summarize this game, you can basically say that Fiorentina came out and they attacked and they attacked and they attacked and they missed and they missed and they missed. They hit the post 4 times, I think 4 or 5 times,
Mhm.
something like that.
3 times in first half.
Yeah, so unlucky to not score. They even missed a penalty. You had Nico Gonzalez in the second half doing his little jump. He
Mm,
shot left as he always does, and he hit the post. Yeah,
yeah. No, look, I wrote it down in my notes because I had to check it up after the game. Uh, he has taken 5 penalties this year, 3 goals, 2 misses, and all 5 have been more or less identical, except for the only one that stood out was really the last one because it was more wide to the left than the previous 4. Uh, it hit the post. Usually it's like 1.5 meter within the post. The goalkeeper was wrong-footed. He would not have saved it if it went inside the goal. But it's really surprising that a player can take 5 identical penalties in the same season. That's
and no one
if
has.
I, as a spectator, can see it on TV, then imagine what the goalkeepers who actually study and take notes. It's yeah.
Then I wonder, Alan, could it be that the technique is so misleading that you never actually think, but when you're in it and you're the goalkeeper, could it be that you actually have no idea where he's going to go, or maybe he really hints that you're going to go to one side? Because
Mm.
it is bizarre. He always shoots bottom left, always, no matter what. The season he's always going, and I think Sommer is the only one who saved it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Summer read him like an open book, but Summer had done his homework.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
Look, I think it's yeah. The technique can explain a lot of it, but okay, you fool me once, fool me twice, the third time, bro, I know what you're doing. If I was a goalkeeper and Nico is stepping up to take a penalty, I'm gonna die left regardless. I'm gonna die left before he strikes the ball. I'm gonna be on the left or my
exactly,
right. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
so yeah.
this run up, man. Now, if I was the coach, not for me. You're not taking another penalty. I'm sorry. I
Mm.
can't do it. I can't do it. It gives me anxiety watching it, and especially when he missed, you could see he was so embarrassed. Of course, he's gonna be embarrassed. That run up is the cockiest, most obnoxious run up I've ever seen. And it's true when it works, he's such a confident guy. And when he gets the run up, fucking, when he runs up, there was one game he scored the penalty. I think he was laughing before the referee even blew the whistle. He was laughing. The referee blew the
Mm.
whistle. He runs up, skips, scores, wheels off in celebration. But it's just not for me, man. If you put power behind the penalty, you're more likely to score. And I'm all for that, man. I watched Mario Balotelli taking penalties for Milan growing up. And I watched him never miss a single one except for one game against Udinese. And what was the common factor about these penalties, man? They were all different. Every single penalty was different. And he
Mhm.
would smack some in. He would, like, 3 penalties, he'd hoof them into the roof of the net. And then the next one, pass it bottom corner. Keep the goalkeeper guessing. That's it. The goalkeepers are going to study. This is their fucking job, for God's sake. I do
Yes,
my research for a podcast. These guys are making millions to do this job. God knows
definitely.
what research they're doing.
They have people hired to do this research for them. They don't even do it themselves. They can get
Yeah.
a sheet of paper and it's like, here's a, how do you say, USB stick with all the penalties Fiorentina has taken the past preseason. There you go. That's how you
Yeah.
have. It's, I think it's inexcusable, and I will say this about since you mentioned Balotelli, all his penalties were different, but the common factor is that he always waited the goalkeeper out and he shot where it was open. The difference with they both do a kind of a skip where Balotelli kind of starts faster and then slows down.
He slows
Uh,
down a bit towards the end, a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
very similar to Niam, who I'm sure we're gonna get onto later. Um, while Gonzalez, he does this skipping thing like Jorginho, but he shoots at the same angle every time. So if you do the skipping thing and proceed to shoot at a different angle where the goalkeeper is not going or like where it's open, okay, I can get it. But if you do the skipping thing and you shoot at the exact same angle every time, you're just being repetitive and easy to read.
I agree totally, bro. Yeah, but this penalty came in the second half, of course, and it was towards the end of the first half in the 45th minute that against the run of play, Luis Alberto scored that goal after Guendouzi passed him the ball, setting him up in a space kind of like between the midfield and the defense.
Mm.
There was quite a hole, quite a pocket over there, and Luis Alberto was intelligent enough to take advantage of it and end his dry spell. To be honest, he's been under quite a bit of criticism lately. In the 61st minute, of course, in the second half, Fiorentina did not give up. They kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and the ball came into Coyote, who smacked it upwards, and it looked like it was going to hit the crossbar, to be honest. Again,
It
but
did
it,
hit the
but
crossbar.
it did, yeah, on its way to the roof of the net, right?
Yeah.
And that was a well taken goal, and he really enjoyed it, Coyote. And we can see the passion in his celebration. It's always nice to see a young player scoring a goal on a stage like this.
How cool isn't it when he runs to the fan and just like screams in his face? I don't know what they're saying, but I imagine it's like, "Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you feel it?" And the fan goes like, "Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah!" And then they hug each other. Ah, it was a really cool moment.
It
They
was.
showed us,
You can feel it. You could feel the
yes,
energy coming off of Coyote through your
yes,
screen. Like, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I get pumped myself like watching that, and it's like, oh, I want to hug them as well. You know, it's
same,
yeah.
same here, man. Absolutely. I love this stuff, man. I'm not for the. I'm not all for the refined celebrations. You know, the Bala can score a hat trick and he'll just hit you with a. I want to see pure human emotion pouring out of you, man. That's what I want to see. I want to see you lose your cool. Do you remember Locatelli's goal against Sassuolo or
I
Milan?
remember his goal against Juventus.
It was a match day before. He scored against Sassuolo,
Yeah,
his first ever goal in Serie A, and he
is
literally,
that
I think it was a winner and an equalizer in a high scoring game. And he
is that the
ran,
one where he cried?
he cried exactly. Yeah, you could see him running and crying, he couldn't believe it. Or Grosso's goal in the World Cup, man.
Yeah,
Those celebrations, the pure emotion. That's what I live for, man. That's why I watch football. To be honest with you.
true.
Yeah.
On Coyote's goal, though, I just want to point out that he was the one who started the attack. He broke down the ball, he played it, and he kept running and he kept running. And in the end, he found himself at the back post unmarked and he buried it. So hats off to him. That was a really cool moment. A
Well
moment
deserved.
every young defender has to dream about.
Yeah, for sure. Totally well deserved, especially when winning it back. Of course, shortly after this, just 6 minutes later, Nico Gonzalez missed the penalty, and then 2 minutes after that, Bonaventura scored a rebound after I believe Beltran, his shot
Yes.
was saved by the goalkeeper, and then Bonaventura basically finished perfectly, and he had hit the post in the first half. He was quite unlucky to not score earlier on, but it's nice to see Jack Di Cuori doing well.
Yes, as a Milan fan, every Milan fan loves him or likes him, and if you dislike him, then you're not a Milan fan. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be that blunt. Um, but he Bonaventura found himself in a scoring position at least 3 times this game, I believe. Uh, he has this thing, at least against Lazio now, where he comes in after somebody shoots, he comes in on a rebound. He had one big one in first half. I can't
Oh,
remember.
Chasale cleared it off the line. Not off the
Uh,
line, he blocked it. Yeah.
yeah, he blocked it. Provedel was taken out of the game. He only need to bury it, but he chose to go with the open wide foot. It was saved. But yeah, he has a tendency to find himself in these positions where normally a striker would be. But so this is part of Fiorentina's game, I think, where they Beltran drops, Belotti runs around the box, and then you leave these spaces that Bonaventura can run into and catch the rebound on those situations. And yeah, it was nice to see he got it. He's been on a bit of a dry spell, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been a while for him. He I don't know if you feel the same way about Bonaventura, but when I really think about his days at Milan, he's I can't quite place if he's it's gonna sound harsh, but if he's an intelligent footballer or not. You know what I mean? Like spatial awareness wise, he's very good. he knows where he should be off the ball. But
Mm.
then on the ball, sometimes I feel like he often makes the wrong decision, especially if it's not his day. Um, and I remember this with Milan clearly. When Milan were having an off day, he was just always like there was something he wouldn't see. You know what I mean? I don't know if you remember the same thing as I do.
Yeah, I struggle to actually. I remember the good parts mostly.
Yeah,
I remember him as being the one who was um, doing the little extra when the other ones were lacking, and that's why I love him so much. Is that because there was a time that Milan were not that good. We had players that we were pretending that they were better than they actually were. But Bonaventura was one of those that was lifting us. He was, and it wasn't just because he's very skilled or anything, but he had that determination, that heart. Yes, that heart that
absolutely.
made me, or any other fan, any other Milan fan will salute Bonaventura when he enters San Siro.
Yeah, man, I was so emotional when he left. That picture of him in the empty San Siro, just at the touchline, holding his like head in hands.
Mm.
Fucking hell, man. And think of what he could have done. Think about what he could have done with Milan. The level he's been playing at still at his age. It's a real shame, honestly. He deserved to stay. He really deserved to stay. He was far from finished, and he gave Milan so much in such a dark time, man.
Definitely, yeah. It doesn't feel like he's regressed that much, really.
Yeah, yeah, not at all, to be honest. And even now, he made his Italy debut a few months ago, and he scored. Was it his first goal for the Italian national team against my country, Malta, the bastard? Yeah, in Taali Stadium, in front of my very eyes. But yeah, I'm happy for him. No, he
Just
deserves.
go
He
on.
deserves all the success in the world, man. Yeah, Fiorentina totally deserved this victory. Lazio right now find themselves in a little bit of a sticky situation when it comes to the league. They're in eighth with 40 points. Surely they'll be pushing for an Europa League spot. But the team, when it comes to simply just quality, depth, understanding of the system, a little bit behind. No, they're a little bit behind. They sold key pieces without really replacing them. They keep rotating Sarri's. Like, give Sarri some continuity with some players, man. Give him continuity with some quality players, and he'll get you over the line, I think.
Yes, yes, I agree. But I will also say that isn't that something you will expect from a coach? Like it's part of football. You will never have this full continuity unless you're a top team who can afford to cherry pick whatever you want to have, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I Yeah, I think I'm starting to feel a little bit how do you say unsure about Sari.
yeah. Regarding his level, the level of that he should be coaching at. Or...
Yeah, getting the most out of his team. He's been there for 3 seasons now. I don't see anything particular with Lazio now that makes them stand out as a quality side, really. And I think it's too easy to blame on the players. He's been there for a time. He has had his own opportunity, and as tried to say earlier, the reality of football is that you won't be able to keep all the players you want, and you need to adapt to the players you have. And that's the brutal reality of it.
Yes, but surely when you look at the personnel,
Mhm.
let's take this game for example. So 3 years ago, Sarri joined Lazio. He had Ciro Immobile at the peak of his game, right? Starting up front. Granted, Ciro Immobile is still there, but is it the same Ciro Immobile? Not quite. It's like Ciro Immobile, but he's lagging a little bit. You can see the movement is still very dangerous, but he's not quite as sharp as he used to be, especially on the ball. Isaacson, first season. Philip Anderson, don't even get me started on Philip Anderson because I don't know where I stand on him. He's so inconsistent, so wildly inconsistent. Luis Alberto's still there, quality player. Happy that he's still there. A little bit of a difficult player to manage, but I think Sarri has done well to get the best out of him. Cataldi is a deep lying playmaker. Now, in a Sarri system, The deep lying playmaker is so important. Why is Cataldi your deep lying playmaker? I don't know. I think he could have used a little bit of reinforcement from Lotito. You look at the fullbacks in a Sarri system, very important as well. He's still deploying Marusic and Lazzari, who are average. They're okay. They're not bad. They're not great. They're average. So yes, I do agree that that maybe they could be doing better, but I don't think he's got the support of the owner personally. I think that he deserves more support.
Yeah, yeah. Fair. I think you make a good point. I do. I don't know. There is something there that's I just don't feel it. Let's say it like that. But yeah, I agree. You make a good point when you say it like that. When you look at one player at a time, they don't have the quality of the teams around them. I have to admit
Yeah.
that.
And even when you look at the good players, the players that are actually playing pretty well, like Guendouzi and Isaacson lately, they're new, man. This is their first season in a Sarri side, I mean, and he's already getting quite a good amount of production out of them. Like I'm pretty impressed by Guendouzi. I didn't think that
Yes.
he
Yeah.
was. I know he was about this game, and Isaacson as well has really grown into a decent player for Lazio. Castellanos hasn't really hit the ground running, and he's my biggest disappointment, to be honest, because with New York, I believe he was, and he went on loan with Girona, where he scored 4 goals against Real Madrid, and he scored quite consistently. He had pretty much 1 goal in 2 games everywhere he went, but it's not really working for him at Lazio.
Yeah.
They currently sit, Lazio, in 8th place with 40 points, while Fiorentina are in 7th with 41 points. So this was a crucial head-to-head over here between these two teams in a fight for those Europa League spaces, rather. So, bro, we've got 3 games left, by the way, and we are 2.5 hours in.
We're
So let's,
messing it up totally.
yeah, no problem, no problem. Bro, whose show is this?
It's your show.
It's our show. Today, this is our show. This is our
Um,
episode, bro.
no, it's
So we
your
can do
show.
it for 4 hours. 4 hours. Fuck it. New record. Once Matt and I, towards the beginning, had recorded an episode that I think was it 2 or 3 hours? We had named it Bohemian Rhapsody because it was revolutionary, the length of the episode for Serie A Spotlight. Then we went on to record. One episode was called the Extravaganza. I don't know if you remember. It was 4 hours long.
I'm sure I'll listen to it, but yeah, I can't remember right now. Yeah.
It was wild. We recorded it over 3 days, and we got drunk 3 days in a row.
Yes, that's one when you took the break.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was funny.
exactly.
Yeah, that was funny.
So, bro, we can quickly brush over this game. We had Monza taking on Salernitana away from home, and Monza won with a score of 2 goals to nil. Now, personally, I was very, very disappointed by Salernitana and their approach to this game. They never really looked like they were in the game. They were outclassed, outpossessed, outscored, outshot, out everything by Monza, and this pretty much put the nail in their coffin, I think, personally.
It's been there for a while, or it's been in the making, and this was one of the games that they maybe could step up and overachieve a little bit, but nah, we saw nothing. Monza were in complete control from the start to the end of the game. You said earlier that Deola was your least favorite player.
Yeah.
For me, it's Juric, and I think
Yes. I wanted to ask you this, bro. Why is Juric your least favorite player?
um, how do I put it? I find him so one-dimensional. It's like if you take away his physique, for me, and this is harsh, but I'm saying what I want to say. If you take away his physique, I barely see him as a football player. To be
Yeah.
honest, yeah, I think the physique is too big part of his game. It's show me that you have something more than your height. Um, in first half, he was wasting chance after, or not wasting, but there were chances that good strikers would have utilized better. Let's put it this way, more fair way. I don't like him.
You're absolutely right. I think the reason you don't like him is the reason Matt and I are in love with him. Um, I love the fact that he's a shithouse. He's just size, man. He's just size and power, and you literally just hoof the ball to him. He's the typical cross to Juric and inshallah type of player, you know. Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it was his actual his header that got Monza the first goal, right? He headed them behind to Pessina, was it? I think it was. Didn't he
Wasn't
have
Maldini's goal the first goal?
Maldini's goal was the first goal, and then Pessina's was the second. Then one of them was
Mhm.
over the top from behind, right? Where
Yeah,
Juric,
yeah, yeah, yeah. He had an assist on the second goal. There was a long ball and he nicked it. Yeah,
yeah,
true. Yeah,
yeah. Look, he's fun for relegation teams. I'm just surprised, to be honest, that Monza bought him.
yeah,
That's it. I like him at a Salernitana. I like him at like a Cagliari type of team. I like him at Hellas Verona, but I don't think he should be at a Monza. Yeah, yeah. I am of the same opinion as you. Mm, yeah. I have been slightly impressed, slightly, by Wiesmann up front for Salernitana. I like his movement. I like what he can do. It's a shame that his teammates are often not on the same page as he is, particularly Castanos, who should have played the ball back on multiple occasions when Wiesmann played it to him, but opted for a shot instead. The 25-year-old Cypriot. Um, yeah, I think that if Castanos was on the same page as Wiesmann, this could have been a totally different story this game. But Monza simply had too much for Salernitana, who have simply gone through too many changes this season when it comes to players, when it comes to managers, when it comes to everything.
yes. But Costanos, it's like just because you're good at shooting from far doesn't mean that you have to do it.
Exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly, man. Yeah, Salernitana, man. It's a shame. I would Matt and I honestly originally wanted to go and watch them because their atmosphere is next level as well. The Salerno
Mhm.
fans are absolutely crazy. Some of the roughest in the league, and they've got crazy songs. They've got crazy tifos. You know, we really wanted to go there, but we realized that probably would end up being the case. I would book the flight, and by the time we get there, they're already relegated. So maybe we'll just go watch them in Serie B next season. It's better to watch someone who's still in it, someone who has more to fight for, of course. Someone like Cagliari, who have a great atmosphere too. Yeah, do you find yourself falling in love with these lowly teams, or is it just me and Matt?
Oh no, I definitely do. Salernitana and Cagliari both, I really enjoy them. Uh, but they have to have a little bit of, how do you say, a little bit of oomph about them.
A little bit of
Uh,
spunk.
yes, I will also shout out to Lecce. I think they're also quite entertaining at times. At times they're shit, but like, yeah, I do, and they make the league more fun. There's been this debate about should Serie A reduce to 18 teams or whatever, and I'm like, please no, don't take away this pleasure from me. I want Salernitana there, even though they are not playing well. Like, don't take this, don't take this atmosphere away from me because
Absolutely.
I'm sure that fellow patron Andrew from London will agree that some of the bottoms teams have better atmosphere, or they're more of a football club than the top team prima donnas.
It's all about authenticity, man. And nowadays the game is moving is becoming less and less authentic, and it's becoming more superficial, quite frankly. But then you look at the lowly sides, and that's where authenticity really sparks. And if you climb, for example, up the table, um, I like, for example, what Genoa have, for example, in 12th spot. You look at the Genoa Stadium; it's a
Mm.
shithole. It's an absolute shithole. Like
But
I
it's so
went there.
charming.
Pardon?
It's so charming.
It's
The
charming, yes.
yeah,
That's it. It is charming though, because it's a shithole, but everyone goes and everyone has a great time, regardless of if the toilets are modern or if the toilets are a hole in the floor, regardless of the baguette that they give you when you order food. Are you really there for a dining experience or to take a piss in a toilet, bro? Or are you there for some football?
yes.
These teams are honestly so genuine and so pure. and so authentic. And that's what I love about Serie A. When people ask me, "Oh, well, why the hell are you upset?" I teach many Italian teenagers who can't quite understand my obsession with Italian football, bro. And quite often they ask me, why do you follow Italian football? Some even tell me like the Premier League's better. I'm like, no, the Premier League's not better, bro. The Premier League is the Marvel series. Serie A is the Godfather. You know, Serie A is authentic. Serie A is a work of art. You look at Bologna Stadium; it's an architectural masterpiece with the fucking tower in the middle. You look at the Genoa fans; they're so passionate, man. The chants that they sing, the I don't know, the closeness of the fans to the team. I don't know. It just feels realer to me.
Yes, yes, I get. Look, I'm not a Premier League fan to begin with, but I get so much enjoy or satisfaction from these teams going. And I think Genoa this season is the best example. They have such passionate fans, and they have the flags. You know, the entire short end of the Genoa pitch is insanely crowded, and everybody it's in colors, and everybody's in great spirits. And how can that not rub off on you? Comparing it to let's not say tourists, but let's say people who can afford to pay 70 euros for a ticket all season round. Like there is maybe 70 euro, let's say 120 euros, which is more the case, right?
Hmm.
They don't have this passion, they don't have this love for the team as Genoa has. It's
Absolutely.
remarkable. Um, I don't know if you follow Genoa on Instagram. I do.
I
It's
do.
yes, they
It's the
are
best.
the best. They,
Hilarious. They're so
yeah,
funny.
they. I'm falling in love with them. Yeah, but I have to admit,
Genuine.
I do switch on based on who's playing well. I'm not like so. Genoa is playing well. I like them this year. I liked Verona when they were playing well. I like Lecce in certain periods of the season, and now Lecce is shit, so I don't have the same enthusiasm to watch them. So yeah, I'm not completely authentic myself. I have to admit.
That's okay. That's okay. That's just the underdog story, you know, the
Yeah,
classic underdog story. Everyone loves an underdog who's overachieving, who's overperforming. Salernitana that one season won all our hearts, just like Crotone that one season under Nicola. Just like Genoa this season, you know. So many teams have come, stolen our hearts, and left. But yeah, Salernitana are in 20th with 13 points, 7 points from the other relegation candidates. It's really getting dire right now. They've brought in a manager who's quite offensive in Semplici, when I think they should have brought in someone to maybe tighten the ship or just stick with Pippo, man. Things weren't looking too bad with Pippo. The performances were there, the points weren't. But the points are bound to come when the performances are there. I think it was a very risky maneuver to sack Pip, to bring Pippo in the first place and then to sack him after a tough run of games. I thought it was just bogus from the Salernitana management, and I think they brought this on themselves. Because this is obviously a learning period for Liverani, right? He needs to. You don't expect him to just come and beat Monza, you know?
yeah. I know you and Matt have already covered it, so I'm not gonna repeat what you said. But if you're gonna bring in a guy, give him the chance to do something. Simple.
Precisely. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. Monza, on the other hand, are in 11th. Still there, still quite as impressive as they were when they first got promoted to Serie A last season. Another successful year, I would say, for them. They're in 11th with 36 points, pretty much confirming, I think, safety. Because I don't think I've ever seen a team relegated with 36 points. I think the most I've seen is 34, that Empoli team that one season. 34 points, and they got relegated, I think, if I'm not mistaken. The one that had Traore and Caputo and all those guys.
I went back not too long ago and checked, and I think I wrote down that like 33 is a safe spot. 33,
Yeah.
34, you're safe. Yeah.
So they're probably okay. So another successful season for them in Monza. Let's see what happens to Monza, man, without Berlusconi, right? At least Galliani's still there. It's still under the Berlusconi family name. At one point, the owner of he's a Greek owner of Olympiacos was rumored to be taking over, but thankfully that didn't come to fruition because apparently he's quite a messy owner, and he's the owner of Nottingham Forest as well, who have been docked points or who are going to be docked points. Something.
Your father's team.
My father's team, exactly. Yes, up the forest. I don't know what they say, but something like that. Um, the next game we're going to be covering was a thriller: Sassuolo 2, Empoli 3. Um, Empoli, of course, pretty much doing God's work over here under Davide Nicola. The scoring was opened in the 11th minute by Luperto, assisted by Marin. In the 54th minute, Pinamonti would be relieved to have scored the penalty after the one he missed the previous week. And Bayern Young followed up with another penalty, his third penalty in 3 games in the 64th minute. Ferrari equalized in the 77th, and then Simone Bastoni got his first goal for the club in the 94th minute in another dramatic, authentic moment, right?
Yes. I think this
Um,
was my favorite game of the entire round.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
I loved it. It was Empoli driving, Sassuolo coming back, and then in the second half, it could have gone either way. It was like a total mess, and somehow Empoli got it. I didn't. It could have gone all ways. It was a great match.
Yeah, yeah, it could have definitely gone either way. I would have bet on a draw. Thankfully, I didn't touch this game, or if I did, it was one of my over one slips that I've been doing lately.
Mhm.
By the way, they are so much fun, bro. I'm just watching every game, going go, 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 like no matter who's attacking. It's the best way to watch football. Honestly, you
Score!
enjoy every chance. You're like shoot, shoot. Yeah, but when it comes to possession stats, Sassuolo had the slight edge. When it comes to the shooting stats, pretty even, to be honest. So it was a shootout end to end. That's what I enjoyed about this game, to be honest, as well. It feels like when it was end to end, when Empoli weren't attacking, they had to defend because Sassuolo were attacking, and vice versa. It was just end to end to end. What do you make of Empoli? Were you the one who told me you're not too sure if they'll survive, or was that someone else? Am I mistaken?
No, it wasn't me. I'm pretty sure of their survival. Yeah. No, Empoli are doing great. They they had a really good first half. Things crumbled a bit in second half. They lost their organizational, they lost their structure, and maybe by coincidence they came back and got the winner. But considering they were the away side and maybe they have a bit less quality than Sassuolo does, that debatable, obviously. I was really impressed. The thing I like the most, I think, about Empoli is in first half they had a stretch of, let's say it was a minute and a half, maybe it was 2 minutes, where they were just passing the ball back and forth on the left side, and Sassuolo couldn't touch it. They were complete in possession. Like there was, it looked so effortlessly, and it gave me association with Bologna when they are playing well. Everything is just flowing perfectly, effortlessly. There's no, how they say, there's no uncertainty about it. They know what they are doing. Obviously, that couldn't last for 90 minutes, but I am super impressed by the Empoli side, and I cannot fathom how a coach like Nicola, after just a few weeks, is already making them play that much better. How is that possible? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Everyone in Italy talks about his humanistic qualities, his human qualities, his
Mhm.
ability to transcend that into the game. I would love to be a fly on the dressing room wall.
Yes.
I have no idea what he does, what he says, but honestly, I think it's just powerful for a short period of time because none of his tenures have really exceeded more than a season, right? Davide Nicola, he always seems to get the sack 6 months in. So I don't know if he's got it figured out, just like how to give the team a boost for a few months, and then just has no
Maybe
idea how to follow up after.
maybe he's just a very difficult personality to deal with.
It could be too.
I don't know. We can speculate.
We could go on all day speculating, but what's evident is that this guy is definitely a fantastic manager, and it's just crazy. You throw him into an atmosphere where everything's on fire, and he'll get them out, no matter who it is. He's a miraculous save with Crotone, with Salernitana, and now with the Empoli side, who had only scored one goal, and I don't know how many games. It came through Baldanzi, who's left since, and now he's got
Mhm.
them scoring 3 goals away from home in a thriller, in a high-scoring thriller in a relegation 6-pointer. He
He
is.
thrives in the fire. He likes the fire, definitely. Yeah.
I think so. I just wonder if we'll ever see him on a big team, man. I don't know
I,
if that's good for him.
in a sense, I feel like he's never had the chance, has he?
Not
Like,
really. I don't think so.
sorry, I didn't mean a big team, but like to stay in a place for a longer time. Uh, yeah, I don't. He's quite young still, isn't he? Or at least he looks
He
young.
is. He's only 50 years old for a manager. That's very young. If you
Yeah.
look at his managerial career, he's managed the likes of Lumezzane, Livorno, Bari, Crotone, Udinese, Genoa, Torino, and Salernitana. With his longest, they're all a year.
Mm.
They're all a year, man. Livorno was his longest spell. Other than that, it's a year, just a year.
Maybe that's part of his strategy. Like, sign me for a 3-year contract, fire me after the first year, and I will collect the salary for 2 more years.
Maybe he's got it all figured out, man. This guy. Maybe he's just an elite manager, but he's just, you know,
Enjoying life.
enjoying life and playing the smart hand. Yes. Surely Sassuolo are okay, right?
To survive?
Yeah, surely.
I wouldn't say so, but
No.
that's where you and me disagree. We talked about it briefly about an hour ago.
Oh, really? Whoops. Yeah. Did I mention that when Berardi comes, I'll be okay?
Yes, you did.
Okay. No, surely I'm still of the opinion, in this hour, my opinion hasn't changed. Sassuolo are okay. They're okay.
Okay, you said it, man. They're okay.
They're okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
but what you said something earlier about Sassuolo, about the manager, and during the recording, our friend Luke Mintoff posted
Ah,
something.
yes. Oh my God, we haven't even spoken about that, man.
Mm.
Yes. I'll break it. Sure. The Sassuolo Primavera manager was appointed as Dionisi's replacement as the head coach. I haven't even learned his name, but he's been sacked. Um,
I'm gonna look
before
it
I could
up.
even learn his name. What was it?
I'm gonna look it up. It's oh, okay. I don't know how to pronounce it. Bigicia or Bigicia or
Let's call him
Bigicia.
Bigicia or the
Yeah.
bitch for short. Yeah, he's been sacked after one game, and guess who they've brought in?
Who did you?
Davide Ballardini, dude. The one guy said, why didn't they bring in a guy like Ballardini? And they literally brought him in while we're recording this episode. It's honestly crazy. I'm so surprised. Is it really that straightforward? I guess they're tired of Yakini, right?
Yeah.
They must be tired of Yakini at this point.
But it's funny because okay, this is going to be a bit maybe not so good to retell, but we were not recording. We took a break,
Yeah.
and that's when we realized of this news. And during this break, we're talking about like how we found it a bit weird that sometimes you as a spectator feel like you have some insight or knowledge that you're not supposed to have. Like, how is this not evident for the people running the club? And that's where you said like, how does not Sassuolo just get Ballardini or something? And then 5 minutes later, Sassuolo gets Ballardini, and it's like, bro,
Yeah.
I should
Like,
be
really?
running a club.
Exactly. Really? Sign me up. Yeah. Um, to be honest, I wouldn't mind Sassuolo getting relegated. Don't tell Mint of this, of course, our local Sassuolo fan. I'm just not a fan of the atmosphere, man. I don't. They
Yeah,
have no atmosphere. It
yeah.
feels plastic. The stadium's far away from the city center. The people of Emilia or Romagna support other teams. It's just not a cool team, man.
Yeah, and it's a one-man team. Okay, granted, I think Tushvet has been fairly impressive this season, but no Berardi, no Party, and that kind of this season he has gotten an ACL, and now he has continued with some muscle injuries, which isn't that uncommon after an ACL. It's boring, to be honest with you. I find them a bit uninteresting right now.
Yeah, it's almost like they're waiting for Berardi. But
Yeah.
yeah. Like Lauriente hasn't stepped up at all. I'm starting to wonder what my stance is on Lauriente as a player, because I hate it when you've got, okay, Lauriente, Pinamonti, Berardi, when they're all available, they all play well. The second Berardi's gone, no one steps up. Like that says a lot about their mentality, in my opinion, man.
In this game, I think Loriente had like at least three good opportunities, at least three minimum good opportunities to shoot, but he shoots it like 10 meters above the goal. He has this, I wrote it in the group chat, like he has the biggest backpack on his back. It's just like straight up. Yes.
Lean back.
Yeah, lean back, boy.
Yeah.
And Pinamonti on the penalty kick. Brother, he missed the two penalties before. He missed two penalties like back to back, and then he had to retake one. He took the penalty this game. He places it, and he does the celebration with the hands behind his ears, and then he's just like stone cold, looking really cool at the crowd. And I'm thinking, like, brother, relax. You scored a penalty. I understand that you've been criticized, but please, come on. It's weird.
And you've missed the previous two. You haven't scored an open play in a while. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This was
Yeah.
Matty had criticized Vlahovic for a while back as well. It was hilarious. Like Vlahovic had scored to end his dry spell, and he pulled out like 3 celebrations. It's like, how eager have you been to the point that you haven't even chosen a celebration? You have to use 3.
Yes. Yeah. But I think Pinamonti had at least two. He had the hands behind his ears, like, I want to hear you now, or talk now, or whatever. And then afterwards, he was like pushing his hands downwards, going like, calma, calma, I got this.
Yeah.
Like, super confident. Distasteful, I think.
Yeah, bro. I agree with you. It's insufferable. Sassuolo are currently in 18th with 20 points, while Empoli are in 13th with 25 points. It's looking good for them, of course. Um, Plenty of points to be won. We're only on match day 26. They're at 38. So we'll see if Nicola can keep this up. We've got one more game to cover, which featured a spectacular goal, bro. This was Genoa 2, Udinese 0. This game saw a brilliant Retegui overhead kick, Bani header, thanks to a lovely Goodmanson assist, and then Goodmanson in the second half getting Christensen sent off for a second yellow card. Pretty much a comfortable and dominant display from Genoa. And I know that when I was planning to record this episode on my own, you had sent me quite a few points, thankfully, because I would have flopped, bro, alone. And you mentioned, is Gilardino flying under the radar? Gilardino is a very, very highly rated manager in Italy nowadays. He's considered to be one of the hottest up and coming prospects in management in Italy. He is tactically flexible. He's adaptable. He adapts his system depending on the game. He's not afraid to change things up and to change personnel up, to switch formation every now and then. And to be honest, when it comes to uniting a group, he also seems to be pretty bloody good at it. He took over Blessing, and Blessing was a pretty good manager already when it comes to these things exactly. And he like Blessing was the king of Gegenpress, no, they called him. So he had big shoes to fill. Taking over, but he's done fantastically. He's got them promoted, and he's got them pretty much mid-table in Serie A. I think Gilardino is doing a fantastic job.
I totally agree. I did not know he had that much praise in Italy, and this is a little bit why I asked the question to you, because for me it seems weird that he's so good. He's doing such a good job, but I don't hear much about him. I don't hear that much about Genoa, and that's why I asked, like, is he being a little bit overshadowed by Thiago Motta, who is also overachieving, or is he being overshadowed by Monza, who also was newly promoted team, who did very well in the first season. but yeah, he's found the right balance, and that's, I think, it's the main thing. Is it's not offensive. They are offensive, but they're also very solid in defense. They are not allowing many goals against.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with the departure of Dragusin, who many could have easily said, "Oh, you lose Dragusin, obviously you're going to take a dip defensively. You're not going to be as good." But they've been solid with or without Dragusin, and you get to see he's got this system, man, where you don't really know who's playing where, man. Like Vasquez had two of the best opportunities in the first half. It was all Vasquez getting on the end of it. Like
Yeah.
he's kind of mirroring this system that like Atalanta and Inter are doing, where the center backs kind of, or like what Fiorentina do with Martinez Quarta. He kind of
Mm.
does it as well with Vasquez. I think Vasquez is a pretty good offensive center back as well, personally.
He recently prolonged his contract to 2029, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'd be happy with that. Vasquez is Mexican, right?
Yes, so I could
That,
get him on the back of my kit.
that's a name.
Yeah.
That's a name.
Um, no, honestly, I remember Vasquez from last time in Serie A. I wasn't too impressed with him, I'll be honest. But it seems that he's growing throughout the season. I didn't really notice him very much in the beginning of this season, but now in this game particularly, he's starting to show. He's starting to come up in front of goal, and he's getting to those chances. But then again, you can also say he missed them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, that's totally fair. Um, as a defender, he reminds me a little bit of Romero when it comes to the rushing, the the way he presses center backs, sorry, he presses strikers a little bit aggressively. You know what I mean? Like he's he fouls a lot, and he often gets booked. And he that was my big criticism with when he was with Cremonese. I believe he was with Cremonese. I think he would often get sent off, man. I think back in the day. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if it was with Cremonese.
Yeah, I got a bit uncertain myself.
Yeah, I can check that. But yeah, he's an aggressive dog as a player, but he's really learning how to kind of balance that and to add more to his game, because you can't just be all bloody fucking, you know, aggression all the time.
Yeah.
Vasquez Genoa. Turns out I can't multitask. I truly am male. Now let's see.
No, he's
Yes,
been
he
a
was with Cremonese, by the way. He was with Cremonese on loan last season, 25
29
appearances.
games, one goal.
Yeah.
Well
Just
done,
one goal
Jake.
though.
All right.
What
Was
do you
that
think
the
about
last game?
that's the last game? Yes, we can pretty much say where they are. Genoa 12th with 33 points, while Udinese are down in 15th with 23 points. Udinese also have a little bit too much quality, right, to be worried about.
Yeah, definitely. They are safe.
They're
Yeah.
safe, right? Dude, Matt and I often talk about Lorenzo Lucca because I'm a big fan of Lorenzo Lucca.
Hmm.
When it comes to, more shit Zlatan comparisons. That's another shit one. If you want to make another shit Zlatan comparison for another guy who's who's big and has decent technique. However, when it comes to being a nine, it's a shame he's not better in the air.
Um, yeah, I haven't really thought that much about it, but yeah, maybe he's not. He's better with his feet than his head,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
and when you look at a player who's standing at 6'6", 6'7", he's a
Hmm.
giant. The guy is massive. He's taller than most goalkeepers. He's taller than most center backs, than all the center backs, to be honest. You'd expect him to be a little bit more dominant in the air. And
But
this
don't you
game,
think,
yeah,
sorry, do you not
tell
think
me, tell
that's
me.
something that's going to come by itself in a way? As long as he keeps playing at a high level, he keeps progressing, he keeps doing his workouts. Don't you think that's going to more or less sort itself out?
I think so. He's got age on his side. He's quite a young striker, 23, 24, something like that, years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he'll only get better in that department. The impressive thing is how skillful he is and how good his first touch is and how intelligent he is. Those are the traits that would be concerning if he didn't have at his age.
Yeah.
So I guess he's on the right track completely. I'm a massive fan of Lorenzo Lucca. Don't get me wrong. Um, it's just a shame when you see how wasteful Udinese were in the first half, and he was the one missing them. In the second half, he scored. He actually scored, but it was deemed to be a foul, and it was called off because apparently he got the ball first. Slightly controversial. I think it's understandable that it was called off. He did swipe him.
It was a foul, but what I liked about it is he's showing this. If we're gonna do the Zlatan comparison, he's showing this hunger, he's showing this passion, and I think that's something that Luka has is that he has the determination. He doesn't like to lose. He
Yeah,
gets pissed off. He has this inner drive to compete and to win, and I like that about him.
absolutely. Yes, I totally agree, bro. Um, yeah, we're done, bro. That's a wrap. That's absolutely crazy. It's
We're
three
done.
hours and 4 minutes now. From what I saw from the StreamYard thing, is that we get 2 hours of upload time. So I might have to pay the subscription, but to be honest, I'm willing. I'll do it for a month. Um, yeah, fuck it. Like this has been great, Alan. I think we should do this more often, personally, if you're willing.
If I'm willing, but if you're willing, I mean, an hour overtime. I think Matt is gonna kill us.
Nah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's gonna enjoy
No.
listening to it. He's got a 15-minute commute, which means that he'll be listening to this episode for a month.
No, if you need me, I'm there. But I will be honest, I prefer you and Matt because that's the chemistry that I like. You're great together. So I hope I never will be needed again. But yeah,
Thank you very much for accepting, Al. You really saved me. Honestly, I don't mind recording alone, but it never comes out quite as good as it does with someone else to bounce off of. You've got a very good amount of ball knowledge, to be honest, bro. You spoke well about every single team. It shows you either watch very carefully or you listen to a very good podcast. I'm not quite sure
yeah,
which one it is.
it's either one of those. I don't know which. Yeah, no, I do listen to a great podcast. Yeah,
So thank you very much for listening, guys. We have been Alan and Jake. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
cheers.